ERB dated
July 8th.
July 8th. Okay, the first thing on the agenda is no more foods. We've had this before, they're doing, oh, I'm sorry, John.
Some of that's, that might be Milmar, but
There's a little bit of Milmar on there. Yep. So Milmar is doing it, mostly it's a rephasing plan. I don't think anything, I didn't notice anything on there changing as far as the site plan itself. They just want to phase it a little bit differently. I think to bring on more stuff at the beginning in phase one than they were doing before. We're also going to modify the parking lot area as part of phase one. And I think basically the big advantage to them is that they're going to be bringing frozen area there so they can put their material, their product that's basically almost all frozen. Put it right in the freezer there rather than having to take it out and truck it to New Jersey and then truck it again. So I think that's the whole thing from Milmar. I don't think there's much difference happening.
no, I agree with everything you said, Mr. Chairman, and so this really is an internal, I don't see this as an internal issue for them, as you said, rephasing. It was interesting that the applicant stated that there would be less truck traffic. I didn't see that. I think it'll just be different truck traffic. As you said, usually they're shipping out to their refrigeration site in New Jersey instead of refrigerating on site and then shipping from that. So I see the same number of trucks, just
The same amount of product is being
Yes.
produced. It's got to leave there somehow.
but you know,
But
I
they
don't.
don't have to send to the freezer and then bring it back.
I don't
Well, it
think-
doesn't. Once they send it to the freezer, it gets distributed from there.
Distributed from there.
Yeah,
So we
I
don't-
think so.
That's what I was thinking, the traffic.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But from an environmental point of view, I didn't see anything new, but I did want to just ask, did anybody see anything new?
The one thing I noted was a question at the planning board a while back, and I don't think let's bring it up. There was some concern that we have these projects and when they come back again, or when they finally could look for another approval or a modification, that some of the things may have changed that we looked at with the ERB, with the environmental impacts. In particular, I think one of the planning board members was concerned about traffic as it was on 17M. And did we consider the traffic adequately 3 or 4 years ago, whenever this was first approved? And has it changed substantially enough that we should be looking at it again? I'm tossing up the idea. I don't know if I agree that it should be done in this one, but I certainly agree that there are projects wallowing out there that are more than 10 years old, or that we considered the traffic impacts if they were to build it right then 10 years ago, and we considered the growth without that project for 10 years going forward. Well, we've already achieved that goal. Let's say we said traffic is going to increase by 3% a year based on other stuff that has nothing to do with the project. So if we waited 10 years, the traffic would already be at 30% higher. And I don't know whether that threshold would automatically or frequently trigger something else, or have more improvements or not. But I think there is a validity to the fact that at some point in time, it should be reviewed again, certain things.
And that is a fantastic point. So how often, and we all live and we all travel the road, how often do we think the traffic changes? I'm just, off the top of my head, I'd say in 12 months, and I live right there, I can tell you that 12 months, there has been a big difference. And I don't see it getting any less.
You think
No, the build out is not even completed yet for a lot of these projects. So you're going to even add more. And some of the traffic studies they did years ago had no insight of everything we're doing now. So, they're kind of a,
Howdy?
So if we
like
started,
void.
right, if we started off with X amount of traffic and the study was based on that, fast forward a couple of years, and if you're still basing off of X as opposed to X plus those 3 years, you're already wrong.
Right.
And so would we like to say that if a project, if a traffic study is more than 12 months old, it must be refreshed before the planning board can issue an approval. The planning board should see a new traffic study if it's more than how many months old. And I'm, again, living right there, 12 months has made a big difference. Is there a number?
I'm looking at everybody else. Yeah,
Oh, one of the problems is, the traffic studies will only indicate, lights. That's the only way they could mitigate the problem with some of the projects that have already been approved. Because the traffic will be there regardless. So the only way a traffic study is going to change anything is to indicate new lights or new stop sign or something.
it's gonna show some kind of changing,
Yes.
but I'm not sure new lights is the only answer. I think we certainly have talked about, and we,
Well, adding
is
turning lanes
turning
and
lanes
things
and all
like
that, right,
that, yeah.
yes, we have talked about that. We have talked about the fact that they have to contribute to a intersection or to improvements.
But adding turning lanes, when you're dealing with the state highway, that's difficult.
That's exactly the problem that we're having right now, with
Exactly.
Salamone and
Mhm.
17 and Flex. And the town is collecting, what do we call that, when they kick in?
They're trying to contribute their proportion of the.
Fair share or something.
Right.
I forget the term exactly, but they're contributing, in some cases, $25,000 to this fund, that once the town has enough money, because the state says you go ahead and do it. The state is happy to, go ahead and put a turning lane in, they just want you to pay for it. And the town, of course, isn't gonna do that. And some of these, one of the numbers I heard was $750,000 to put a turning lane in. Okay.
But they'll allow the town to do that on the state highway?
The town, if, I think that if they, there's, DOT actually recognizes that there are problems.
Because
They also
you
recognize that they don't have the money to do it, they're not gonna fund it.
And you also have to take into consideration the land that you're taking to put that extra land in, lane in.
Mm-hmm,
Who's that belong to? And
yep.
how are you going to do that? The old eminent domain thing, or?
Well, it could be eminent domain, but otherwise, in general, we get people to contribute that. Because frequently they're, what are the projects that are impacted? And therefore that could be their contribution in kind. That does happen sometimes. Look, Legoland did that flyover of the overpass. And they
Yeah, but
also,
Legoland was a different ball.
and they also gave them, I think, 7 acres of land to do that. And it was all allowed, it was all designed by Legoland, it was all built by Legoland under the DOT's approval. And the DOT certainly had to approve everything that they did. The DOT certainly did the inspections when they did it. And so it can be done.
And truthfully, for all the fear that was projected with that project, didn't happen, because even in peak times, nobody's really suffering from the traffic on that, if loads.
Oh, the flyover bridge made all the difference in the
Yep.
world.
Yep.
To which, by the way, the state did kick in, I believe the number was 20 million for that.
Yeah,
Legoland was supposed to pay for it.
Oh, no, Legoland was paying a large amount or whatever. It was massive. The numbers for that was,
Okay,
I think, 50 million or more.
okay. So, just back on the Millmore food itself, the update is that it is a reorganization of the, what did we call it?
It's it's a redo of their phasing plan.
Phasing plan. Other than that, there really was I didn't see any environmental concerns with what they were doing.
There was no additional impacts being identified.
Okay.
The only impact identified by one planning board member was the fact that, hey, this is now 2 years later, 3 years later, 4 years later, whatever it is, and therefore there's more traffic there already. You're saying that you think 12 months is it. Anybody else on time period?
Well, I've been here 4 years, and coming from Southern California, it was like, wow, there's no traffic. So I have gone through an adjustment.
Yeah.
But it does seem to me, just that there seems to be more traffic on the routes that I regularly take, just in the 4 years I've been here.
Yeah, no doubt.
So,
But do you think Millmore is gonna contribute to traffic, I honestly, and I pass that quite often, I don't really notice any traffic in there.
Well, once again, according to Millmore, they have a certain amount of trucks going out now. Once they process their food, they take it to New Jersey to freeze storage. Now they'll be storing on site frozen foods and then distributing from that. So it's the applicant said that there will not be any more trucking, and I don't think there will. I think it will be just different. They may be smaller trucks. There may be a distribution. Does that change the traffic? I don't know if it does, and I don't know if it's significant, but that's why you do a study.
And their time frame for traffic may be different too.
Also, right, if they're traveling in the middle of the night.
Right, who cares?
Exactly.
That was a change I did see though, is that they're not gonna have a night shift. Apparently Frankfurters were a night shift thing. I don't know why I caught that, but I caught that. So they're not gonna do Frankfurters at night, they're gonna do Frankfurters during the day. But
And that's weird because they don't sell hot dogs on a plane.
I think they've gotten away from planes. They now do some of the warehouse stores, Costco's or that.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, I'm not sure Costco's is the right answer, but I think they do some of those bigger stores like that where they're doing bulk.
So would it be proper for us to ask the planning board exactly how does the traffic change? If the applicant made a blanket statement, there are not gonna be any more trucks. As a matter of fact, there will be less trucks, and then left it there. There was no more conversation about that. I think that statement took the board by surprise a little bit, took me by surprise in the audience. I don't know that it was true. A little more information would be certainly helpful.
So we can certainly ask for documentation of that there's no change.
I'd like to hear just that. And also, if you're going out with 18-wheelers and you're trucking down to Jersey once a day, as opposed to now I'm putting 10 box trucks out, you've increased the traffic. Same tonnage going out, but a lot more wheels on the road.
Yeah.
And so, I think the planning board should take that into consideration before they sign off on this phasing plan.
So certainly we can ask for documentation, I think.
All right, I have that written down. Anything else?
So let's,
One side note
Go ahead.
on this,
Yep.
just, being a novice, we do these traffic studies. Is there anybody who puts this together and say, okay, we have so much traffic on this that we need to enlarge, put in turning lanes, or, I mean, whose job is it to mitigate that?
So our traffic study, we have a traffic consultant for the town, his name is John Canning, and he does the traffic study. He then gives his report to the planning board. The planning board then says, this is a problem or it's not a problem. Almost always what I've seen is that Mr. Canning provides a mitigation plan. If there is a problem, here's an idea how to get around it. And if it's a matter of right turn only coming out, if it's a matter of daytime, certain times of day, you can bring your trucks in or out, we try to mitigate the traffic. Who enforces that? Yeah, that goes into the dark void. Nobody,
Okay.
I've never seen that.
I think that certainly we do. We have seen that done on the bigger projects. We have seen it done on Legoland, we've also saw it done on Amy's Kitchen.
Mhm.
Okay, and certainly if it's part of the plan adopted by the planning board, then it happens. I think that's safe to say.
It just seems like there's a lot of little projects that,
Sure,
add up to a big project.
and that is the problem right now, is that we're getting this, you're gonna contribute to your fair share, and then when we get enough money for that fair share to amount to, we'll fix that intersection. In the meantime, traffic gets worse until we get that number, and then I think that's a problem.
Are we as a city smart enough to put that money aside for that, or do we?
Are you questioning our town board, our town coffers?
I can tell you that, yes, they should be, and yes, there should be a dedicated spot for that. And I will tell you that at one point in time, the village used to have a parking impact fee, and that what happened was, I think people were given $10,000 per parking space they had to do for a while. And my understanding is that money is not to be found at this point. So,
I mean, that's fairly typical of most organizations.
Sure.
But occasionally you run across an organization that actually
does it?
plays a long game.
While we were talking about traffic and the change over time, we have a few audience members here with us tonight who I know travel that road frequently as well. Can we Can we hear
Sure.
from the audience members if you have an opinion as to how often does traffic change on 17M?
When you say change, what do you mean?
Have you noticed an increase in traffic on 17M?
Yes,
Over what period of time?
Over what period of time?
any time of day.
No.
No? How, from month to month, year to year, if you're saying there's been an increase in traffic, there's been an increase in traffic over how many months or years? Is it sudden? Has it ramped up quickly, or has it been a slow trickle over the last few years?
Let's assume you moved
Not a
up.
slow trickle. It's been pretty,
Steadily builds up, and
yeah.
the worst time I've traveled on it was anywhere from like 2 to 5, you know, going to pick my granddaughter up in daycare and stuff.
Time of day, John, the time of day is always, the rush hour is one thing.
Right.
I will say that, having been in my house since 2012, I can say that I did not notice too much of a difference until probably about 2019. And then I noticed a difference, markedly difference. Now, what I'm asking you is, have you noticed a difference? And if you have, how long ago did you start noticing a difference, and how often do you think it changes? Any ideas?
I would say it's gotta be at least the last 3 or 4 years, it has probably doubled in traffic.
See, now that's a number I can hold on to. Jim?
I just wanna mention, Gates Schoolhouse Road has that now, those fluorescent signs up,
Yes.
and they're also on Houston,
Mhm.
and I'm not sure exactly where Derland is. I mean, I probably drive on it all the time, but it's over there too. So we're seeing a lot less tractor trailers on our road, but Maple Avenue has dropped down, so the tractor trailers are now probably finding another route, and I suspect that the traffic on 17M is gonna go up due to the great thing that we have. I hate to mention it, because then someone might take it away, but.
Yeah. Well, again, you're kind of protected with that gas line on Gate Schoolhouse Road. The town superintendent, highway superintendent Broderick Knoll, he takes that very seriously. I was in to talk to him last week. I think we were all very grateful that he got those signs out with a good push from the town board. So I think that is working great.
Yeah.
My comment was that if you find a truck on that road now, that, really, they're just
Well,
wrong.
even Maple Avenue has gotten less, so that means they have to go somewhere else to get wherever they're going.
Well, maybe that's even more the reason that I'd like to see traffic studies done a bit more frequently as when it comes to any of these projects, but we are talking predominantly about 17M, because we are pushing the traffic off of the side roads, because it didn't belong there in the first place, and we're going to be using 17M more. And it's a state road, and it's supposed to be used, and I get that, but before we blindly sign off on a project, I think we should know, are we going to have more traffic on 17M, and is there something that can be done to mitigate that?
Yeah.
Thank you for the input, appreciate it. But I think, yes, if we're asking the planning board for a bit more information on that trucking from Millmore.
So I think the real important thing here that we can certainly point a finger at is, that we're all saying we think it's a change. And I guarantee, I started working here in 2002, and between 2002 and now, it's a massive amount of difference. But even if I took that, it's a 3% change a year, it's 60% more traffic or more. So I think that would be a reality. What was interesting with the comments you made just now was that the town has made traffic change. The town has pushed traffic off of some roads and onto some other roads, and we don't know what other roads there are right now. But we know that they kicked them off of Houston Road, and we're hearing or thinking that it's also off of Maple. So.
Yeah, but if it's off of Maple, where do those trucks bringing bigger stuff, where do they go?
That's what we're asking. I don't know, but apparently we did move them. That action the town took has moved traffic somewhere else.
But if that's a county road, Maple Avenue.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, and the town did not put signs on Maple Avenue.
Yeah, but I think they're finding that they can't take their usual route.
Right.
So they're not going on Maple Avenue as much as they usually.
Since they can't turn on the house and then they can't turn on the Gates Schoolhouse, it's kind of dead.
John, have you noticed a difference on Maple Avenue in trucking?
No, the conventional guys still, you have to use maybe
Of
not
course,
in
yeah.
the city, but, local deliveries, that could be, yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be the through traffic somehow is what would really have to change. All right, so maybe we should suggest that the planning board needs to reconsider some of these traffic studies based on the fact that the town has now removed some traffic off of Houston Road and Schoolhouse Road.
Okay.
And we're hearing that Maple Avenue may also have to be.
It just
have
seems a
reduced
little
traffic.
quieter, so, I mean, it's
And
a
that
good thing.
hasn't been within the last 3 to 4 years or so. So I can picture, I think one thing that could impact us, and I don't know if this is true, is certainly Legoland. Most of Legoland traffic, I think, is 17. But I think there are also people coming up from New Jersey or up from 84 who get on the 17M to go to Legoland. I think that since Legoland has been open, we maybe should reconsider some of these studies in that they may or may not have been accurate with their prediction of where traffic from Legoland was gonna do.
Mhm.
I could agree with that, that the traffic coming off of 84, coming down 17N to go to Legoland, coming from Pennsylvania or that part of Jersey.
Yeah, if I was coming up, say 84 from Pennsylvania to New Jersey there, I'd be coming through on 17.
Yeah.
My
And so
sister-in-law
that-
does it coming from Pennsylvania
Mhm.
to come to my house, so.
Oh, yeah, 84 is easy.
Yep. So I think that's another reason for the planning board to consider that some of these studies may be outdated at this point, or,
Well, I think also local traffic may increase with some of these projects when you wanna divert off of 17M, by going, say for instance, you're coming through 17A. You'd go Gibson to Maple to Gate Schoolhouse, and that gets you out to 17M. And I see much more of that.
Yeah.
I see that diversion that way.
Mhm.
So depending on what they build out on 17M, which is pretty active right now, that's another thing that may increase over time, because you don't have to go out by Stewart's and go up that way, you just do that little zigzag and you're there.
The other thing I don't know the answer to is, were there any significant changes in neighboring towns that we didn't take into account? Or were there any bigger projects in any of the 5, 6 towns that are around us that caused traffic to increase faster than our 3% background
Well,
noise?
it's funny, because Medline, which is massive, I don't see any traffic coming from there on 207. I don't see any increase at all.
I just saw 2 today, but you're right. No, for the most part, I absolutely agree. Medline does not impact us at all.
Yeah, and it's such a massive warehouse, you would think that there's trucks coming in and out, in and out. And
There's not.
I pass there a lot and I don't even see them.
I go that way to go to my kids' houses.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, you
In
do,
Montgomery.
Mhm.
instead of coming down to 207 now, I noticed a lot of them going the other way on 416, making a left on 211, going out that way, a lot of the trucks.
Yeah.
Anything going that way, I figure they're all on that. I got caught behind trucks there numerous times coming out that way because,
And then the only town
then
road
they
you-
get on 84, something
Yeah.
out that way.
Mhm.
You know, and then going the other way, they go on Neely Town Road.
Milltown Road's just another.
Yeah.
That's another whole, oh, God.
But I am surprised at the lack of traffic out of Medline. I
Yeah.
seldom see, now you go past that traffic light of theirs, I seldom see a truck waiting there.
I know,
I
it's
wonder
crazy.
if a lot of their traffic goes out at night?
It could be.
Could be.
I'm not going by there at night, so
Me neither.
I wouldn't
Not usually.
test anything.
Yeah.
Well, they were probably made to clean up. Did you see all those stored tractor trailers going down the ramp and
Yeah, I
around
did,
the
yeah.
side?
Yeah.
They're not there anymore. They're all up behind the fence
Mhm.
now. But for about a year, they had the trailers just stored outside of it on the road, you know, on their ramp, going up.
Yep.
What about the new giant warehouse where Goshen is?
I don't think that's up and running just yet, the Kadim Winery,
Yeah.
I haven't seen
That's
trucks
another
come
really
in and
big one.
out.
I haven't seen anything come out of that.
There are signs up, Goshen, Goshen Transport, that's,
Yep.
that's their arm of their trucking. To look at it, you would say that it's not running yet.
I agree. But maybe the same as Legoland. You know, it's open, but we just don't feel it.
Maybe.
Oh, no.
All right.
Okay. Let's do we want to talk a little bit more about what time period we think automatically should trigger?
Well, I think 12 months is a nice round number, and it, well, let me ask this, how often does an applicant have to come in to extend the plan?
1 year.
They have 1 year.
I believe it's 1 year.
If I'm not mistaken, it's, once you get an approval, it's 6 months, and then you can get an 18-month extension. It's a really weird thing.
I thought it was a 6-month extension, but you could be right.
It's 6 months and then an 18-month extension, but, that's an extension of an approval.
Right.
During the process though, so many of these projects have not gotten an approval, and sometimes it's not their fault. The applicant, it just takes forever for the state to get back to them on something.
Well, they got a preliminary approval without a final approval, right?
Right, so, to my mind, before the final approval, the applicant should submit a traffic study that has been done within the previous 12 months, the previous 12 calendar months, that it's
would work,
fresh enough.
because right now, a lot of times the application comes in with antiquated information.
That's exactly what, yeah, I agree. So refresh that traffic study so that the planning board has the most recent information to make the best decision.
All right, so, right now we're talking traffic, but is traffic the only thing that gets outdated?
Traffic seems to, from an environmental point of view, I mean, yeah, we could go down the rabbit hole, but we're the ERB, so I don't wanna.
Exactly.
I'm concerned about, yeah, I mean, traffic, air pollution, noise pollution.
A few years ago, we had projects, or I don't know how many years ago, we had projects that came in and, I'd say past 2020, and some of the studies were like from 2006.
Right, that's stale, that's useless.
Crazy.
And again, the planning board can only make the decision based on the information that's in front of them. I just wanna get them a work product so that they're making the best possible decision on updated info. And I think a refreshed traffic study within the previous 12 months is reasonable. And we could make that suggestion.
Well, that should be with every project, because, a lot of these studies that they use for their information when they first do their application, a lot of these things change based on what has actually happened. So you get a project that's under review over here, now they're actually building it, they're working on it. Well, some of the environmental information you had before for maybe a project going on over here, now it changes because this is built out.
Right.
So it shifts a lot of the pieces. So you do need to have updated studies on a lot of the environmental things. It could be from animals to whatever, but water especially, because water changes.
That's another one, have a well test, well tests are required, but that well test should also be, it should be recent. Because as you said, that project went in, I did a well test, now I put a project in, okay, now I wanna use hold on, that just changed, cause that guy's pulling from the same aquifer.
Yeah.
I'm writing down well test.
Yeah, perk tests are really important.
There's a perk test, now you're on perk test.
Yeah, the perk tests are important.
Well-
Only because it happened to me. And none of the studies it wasn't taking into consideration, I think, the impact on surrounding people. So all of a sudden, when your well doesn't work anymore.
Right.
That has worked for ever.
Yeah.
And now, because they build out, a development,
Mm-hmm.
then all of a sudden, you have no water. And then they have to go from 160 to 500
Yeah.
to get the pressure.
Yep, absolutely.
That's huge.
Sure it is.
And that was after the development was built.
Yep.
So,
Anna, have you noticed any water pressure changes in the last month, early morning? Oh, it's okay if you haven't. I have, and I was wondering if 2602 was doing well testing for that reason.
I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I have noticed some days that there's less pressure, but I can't tell you.
Yeah, well, this time of year, you got people
But
watering
I
their
can
lawns.
tell you that the blasting that they're doing is shaking my
I've had
whole
enough.
house,
I've had
and
enough.
every day,
2602, 17.
you gotta see the cracks that I'm getting,
The what you're getting?
cracks,
Are you?
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Well,
Call the town.
we're going to the town with that.
Yeah, yes.
I mean,
Shit.
they'll say my
Now I'm
house
now I'm
is
thinking I
settling.
gotta start looking for
They'll
cracks.
say my house is settling because it's 5 years old, but I'm getting, you know, more cracks in my walls.
Report it.
It does, and by the way, when she says shakes, I mean, the whole house goes. And by the way, it happens just a
Yeah.
little bit after 5 o'clock every day. Why they wait until 5 o'clock, I
Well,
don't
they
know.
did the same thing with the quarry.
Yeah, well, I was too far away for that one.
I
So
wasn't.
we gotta get moving on here.
Okay, but,
Good info. I got good notes, you got
yeah,
notes.
anyway, I'm thinking, boy, I'm coming up with all kinds of stuff. I think really we should do when we do well testing, if a project's already been tested for with the well, and somebody else comes in, this project should be running their well at the rate they're gonna be using it at least, to determine whether it's gonna have an impact over here. Because, like you said, we have one next to each other repeatedly and are not functioning at that point in time, but, could be. All right, I think, look, when we do, wetlands or things like that, we certainly have a look back on it, and I forget whether wetlands now is 5 years or 10-year look back. Whereas if you haven't done it in that period of time, the DEC requires you to go back out again and determine that it hasn't changed. I somehow think that we're gonna get, no, I don't, not somehow, I think we're gonna get some pushback suggesting that all this should be done on a 12-month look back. But I think we have to really decide what to really try to push for on a look back on anything. And I think well testing is certainly a good one. I think traffic's a good one. I think there's a number of them that are possibly good. Look, I certainly think that and I'm gonna kill myself on this, but certainly on Coleman Road, I think that projects around there and probably anywhere within the mile of there or something should be looking at threatened or endangered species again, because within the past couple of years, I've seen more bald eagle traffic than any time in the past.
Yep.
You know, fortunately, I'm not looking to do anything at this point in time, but you know, I've seen 4 eagles at one time on my property.
Wow.
So I think that we should be looking at look back on any number of things, threatened or endangered species, traffic, wells, all kinds of things like that. And certainly I think that the DEC already requires on that. I think we need to look into that more as to what we really think and come up with what and when and how often. And some of that deals with what big projects may have come in. Because what may be good this year and then going forward 5 years, if Legoland came in the meantime, traffic would be possibly impacted more of them so than other things. So we have to come up with some kind of ideas on that. And we have to do, also thinking about blasting and the impacts of blasting, and whether or not people should be able to get on a notification list or whatever if we're gonna blast. I know in the past we have with the quarry, or at least at that point in time, we were coming all the way up to Doug's house, whatever, from the quarry, which isn't really that far, but.
I wasn't that far from Spruce Hill, and I wasn't notified, but I felt it just the same as Spruce Hill did.
Yep.
Because basically, they're here, and I was right here.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. And so maybe we have to look at, maybe we should suggest looking at the blasting law.
I didn't even think about it to take pictures of what my basement floor looked like. I'm almost done covering it
Yeah,
already.
in the past, I know when we've had blasting and we knew about it and we knew it was nearby, we had them required to go in and document the condition of the houses, who people wanted to let you in there. I know we had some pretty, I think stuff that was pretty legitimate. I think we had some pretty stupid stuff at some point. You know, you broke my knickknacks. And maybe they did, and I'm not trying to belittle anybody's knickknacks, but you can start claiming anything.
Well, that's what they did in Spruce Hill, they told them, remove your pictures off the walls.
That's interesting, all right. So we covered Milmar. Everybody happy with Milmar? Anything else? Okay, good. Next one on the agenda is,
CDA Extreme Sports Training Center.
all right, everybody know what we're talking about here?
Is that the
No.
Sunshine Club or what, what's?
Sunshine Club. My man's got a whole other thing going on. You're saying that?
Just the dance.
This is the outdoor adventures on 7 p.m. This,
It's next to RDM.
The one with the crazy windows.
No,
No?
we're at the other end of town, going towards Middletown, where RDM is building right now, on the one side. It's really not RDM, the corner RDM, right next to the old Furniture Options building.
Okay.
That Furniture Options building was approved for a woodworking shop kind of thing,
Yes.
to assemble kitchen cabinets and something. Now they want to bring in sports, they call it extreme sports,
In addition to what they're doing, or?
and I believe it's in addition to.
Does it mean expansion or?
No, they're using the same building, they're just gonna use the building more completely.
I see a lot of cars there lately.
Yeah, that's why.
this is the.
I think it's that they are,
Right.
I think what happened, they started using it for that, and then they were told,
Oh,
you
okay.
don't have approval for that.
So, I'm sorry, so as Neil was saying, it was Outdoor Adventures. It was a furniture, place, and then it, became Outdoor Adventures, which never actually did anything. And then on, a field inspection, building inspector Leva found that they were making furniture. So they were made to come in and get a special use permit, which they did receive. Now, CDA Extreme Cheer, was going to rent some space and do, competition cheering, that type of thing. These are travel teams and such, and, well, that's another use, right? So, now CDA has to
They
come
have
in.
the parking for that? Because when you have a competition like that, forget it. I remember.
I have it written down. This
I
is
had
the
a daughter
question.
that
These
was
are-
part of that.
These are the questions that, we want to be concerned with. First of all, the current use building is, the entire interior of the building is being used for, this, making cabinetry. They don't manufacture, they assemble. So they get shipped in the particle board, they put it together, and then they ship it out as a cabinet. However, so I happened to be going by the other day, unofficial visit, I just happened to come by, see what's going on, I poked my head in, and there was, it's all being used for this manufacturing. So my understanding is that CDA Cheer was already using the facility some months ago. As a matter of fact,
Where, cause they have a second level.
no,
They
two-
Yeah, they
They
do.
do have
They
a,
do it upstairs.
right, it's, the last time I was there, well, the last time it was approved, it was supposed to be open, it was just supposed to be a mezzanine. So
a
it wasn't-
mezzanine, yes.
Right, a second level up there with no walls. Kinda like a big balcony.
So my understanding is also,
Right.
they've split the building, there's a front half and a back half,
There
and I
always
don't know.
was, there always was that.
Okay, so Extreme Cheer is going to be using the back half. So the beginning of this year, it was in the spring, I believe, they did some sort of an expo, and immediately people on Facebook like, what is going on 17M, all this traffic? And I said, oh, I know what this is. So I agree with you completely. The parking lot out front, if you take a look at it, the entire parking lot needs to be updated. It needs to be seal coated, it needs to be lined and striped.
Well, there's not enough parking.
And then the question is, how much parking do
They
they need?
have to take more of the, the.
They have the front lawn.
Yeah, they have front lawn, they'd have to bring it back, and, I mean, I'm all for it, I think that's great to have the competitions there for the kid, I love it.
Can they
But,
enter,
go ahead.
can they enter from the back of the building, I mean, for the thing, or no?
What's interesting is at the back of the building, John, on both sides of the building, there are roll-up doors that would be used for deliveries, big truck delivery. So it's not designed for a pedestrian entrance. Number two, the roadway that does go around the building is a gravel roadway, and this is really an emergency service access road. It's not designed for pedestrian use. Not only is it not designed for that, but it is an emergency service, and to your point, Carol, that they don't have the parking out front. People are gonna start parking in the back, and now emergency services have no way to access the building
Don't
if
they
they
have
needed
big
to.
storage units or something back there?
They
or-
moved those.
They did.
They did,
move
yes.
them? Okay.
So, I mean, I had written down the parking lot, they need ADA handicap spots. There is one door in the middle that you enter the building. And currently, you walk in, you'd have to walk past their manufacturing and to the back of the building, which does not seem to be,
But it's sort of like, Hacienda, you have your parking around the front of Hacienda, but then you can go all the way to the back, which is like gravel, that's where most of the people have to park. Because the overflow is huge sometimes, and then you have to walk up and around to go into the front of the building.
There's really no room in the back for parking. There's, as a matter of fact.
Is there room to expand back there, or?
I think on the right-hand side, there may be, I think.
Can I hand that down to you? That's the building, that's the, I mean, how many cars are you really getting back there?
I think you can add more back there. I think somewhere over there on the grass
yeah.
area, I think
Well,
there is a
here.
septic there, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
Also.
Well, I think they're gonna have to expand it in the front too, if they want to, because when you have cheer competition like that, and there's gonna be a lot of people,
Yes. So, I have down,
and there's nowhere to go there. You know, when you come in here, there's nowhere else to go. It's not like an open area.
right, and there's only one entrance in, it's
Right,
one entrance in,
right,
that's it.
Right.
I think that's gonna be a building code issue for Frank.
That goes to my next point, was once again, we could go down the rabbit hole on this, but we're the ERB, environmental concerns, and I consider traffic to be an environmental concern.
Why can't you add in another entrance?
Oh.
Like it make up, like
And
that
I think
entrance
that,
exit?
I think they may have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a question for him. I think there also may be a question about additional restrooms and also a question about electrical service. Because if I'm working in the front and the other back part's rented out, I can't go into their property necessarily to turn my breakers back on.
But do they have
Whatever
like a
else.
separated, because when you walk inside, if you're building cabinets on the right, and you've got competition going on the left, there's gonna have to be some separation in there somewhere.
There may be, they certainly could do that. I know that when it was built originally, there was a front half, back half, and that wall in between the front half and the back half was pretty much a firewall. I think the walls, the doors that were in there were fire-rated doors to separate legally separate the front and the back.
You're gonna need some kind of changing areas or warm-up areas.
Locker
for kids
rooms,
for-
bathrooms,
Yeah, all
but
that.
aren't those more building
That's building
enforcement,
code,
that's
yeah.
building code, right? And as much as I'm sure Mr. Love is gonna make sure that's done, the environmental, our comments to the planning board, environmentally, I'm concerned about traffic, I'm concerned about parking.
And the mezzanine could be.
I think the mezzanine is on the front of the
It
back of
is.
the
It
building,
is
that's
on
not
the
even in the
front,
back.
it is on the front.
And so, but once again, what they do inside the building is very much the building department's, milieu, right? That's what they have to do.
Except to the degree that we're talking about numbers of people.
Okay, so the ERB is concerned with the bathrooms,
Sure.
right? And it's-
Only in relation to water and septic.
Water and septic.
John, you have something?
No,
I mean, how many bathrooms they have is is Frank's issue. How much septic and water usage is a planning board issue.
I do happen to know this building, that grass in the back of that building is always green, even in extreme drought. That's where their septic system is.
Irma Bombeck, right? The grass is always.
The grass is always, you're dating us, John, you're kidding.
Yeah, of course.
That's weird, because there shouldn't be that much use in there right now.
It's, what I'm saying is that septic field, over the years, I have known it is always wet back there. And I fly over it a lot, so you can tell
Yeah.
when a field is bad. And that would be, again, a code enforcement, an issue for Mr. Leva, but, water use, septic, traffic, lighting. ERB, I mean, we could go down, but that's the planning board's job, that's building's job, building inspector's job. Is there anything else environmentally that we want to mention to planning that we wanna make sure gets hit?
John?
would the water runoff be?
Water runoff,
That shouldn't have changed so far.
here's something interesting, the site next to, the.
Yeah, the RDM call.
We're calling it RDM, I
Yeah,
know
we're calling it that.
they changed the name, but it all
Yeah.
goes to the same address, right? Anyway, there is now, this dirt comes right up next to, they use the whole entire property. Now, I would imagine they're going to plant, right, and they'll put grass there, et cetera. But there is a drainage, ditch, and this runs to the back of the property, and this is, as you can see, all the wetland. But how does the warehouse now affect, this building, the outdoor adventures of, I don't know, what do we even call it? It's
We'll call it extreme sports or extreme whatever.
Extreme Training Center, actually 2596 Goshen, New York. 259617N. Water runoff definitely becomes an issue if they're going to expand that parking, but again, that's a code enforcement issue.
No, that would be ours, though. It would be ours only to the degree that they may have to do a stormwater pond or something.
So a SWIP if,
If 1 acre or more,
is what?
if 1 acre or more, if they disturb more than 1 acre of land outside, then they would have to do that. Meaning if they have any sense to this at all, then make sure that they do their expanded parking lot less than 1 acre.
Okay, so if they're going to expand the parking lot, which we imagine they would have to, they're gonna need a stormwater prevention plan.
If it's over 1 acre.
If 1 acre.
They're gonna be,
I have a question. Chris said that it's always wet, which means the septic was no good.
well, we don't know.
We don't know, but I'm saying from empirical evidence, I have seen.
So wouldn't that be an environmental issue?
If it was really failing, yes. Well, I don't know about you or most of the people, but certainly last week, I probably had green stripes in my lawn from where my leach field is.
Sure.
Okay, that's not uncommon. What is uncommon here, if Chris is at all accurate, is to have that whole area bright green. The water usage there is eventually very low. We have 20 people working there, which is only 300 gallons. That's less than our houses. That shouldn't be that big of a wet area from the septic.
They also have this area back here is marked off now with white pylons, which to me is exactly what you would do if you don't want your lawnmower guy driving his mower over that grass.
Or if you're gonna limit that to where the overflow parking goes.
Believe me, it was keep your tractor off this area.
Okay.
But
No,
Okay.
I think we should say that and suggest that somebody should investigate that
Okay.
prior to approval.
We're a long ways away from this. It was on the agenda for tonight only because it is going to planning their next meeting next Thursday.
They're the ones that, brought this Cheer Fest thing in.
CDA Extreme, yes.
It's
They're-
funny, I would have thought it would have been better served maybe over in a place like, Philomena.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I do, but the answer is that they found it, whoever made the connection with somebody else.
Cause it's just such a weird building to have, to cut in half and do something like that.
But we used to have something similar to that down on 17A, where that car detailing place is now, and
Oh.
shown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but still, that's a dedicated, well,
Like I
yeah,
said.
they split these buildings up.
Yeah, as I said, we have this on the agenda just because it's going to planning. In our minutes from tonight, planning can look at this. I'm sure planning they probably thought of all these things anyway, but maybe they pick up one little nugget from something we said and it helps the town. But we will have another crack at this.
Yeah, but certainly your identification that this seems to always be wet back there is a cause for somebody to look into it.
Yes. Okay,
And I think they're gonna have to, where they look at the expanded, possibly expansion of the septic system.
And the expansion of parking.
Right. Okay, we're on to Ontorago now.
Ontario Mansion put this on the agenda tonight because they were at planning their last meeting. They made a presentation. I'm sorry, they had a public hearing, for which only one member of the public spoke and was in favor of the project as presented. However, wanted to see more, of course. As a reminder.
We're allowed to talk about it now?
What's that?
We're allowed to talk about it now?
Oh, I guess so. You know what? I don't know what happened with that.
I don't think
Well, we
nothing-
are talking.
But anyhow, we're gonna talk about it.
So, Ontario Mansion, as a quick refresher, is a current existing 10,000 roundabout square foot building. It had previous approvals for commercial use. The current owner wants to expand this site by an additional 40,000 plus or minus square feet, make it a.
Sounds like the greenhouse.
Yeah, it's gonna look like that too. They want to do a venue, a meeting venue / mostly wedding venue, catering, a salon. They also want to add, what amounts to hotel rooms for rent for those people that are using their facility, for their events. This is early on in the project. The hubbub, if you will, was that, Building Inspector Leva made a determination that there was no significant change to the building, as presented, and that triggered an Article 78 from a local resident. It was explained that Mr. Levin was not saying that the overall project wasn't going to be significant, but only that the existing 10,000 square feet was not going to change much, because quite frankly, he can't talk about the rest of it yet. That plan hasn't been submitted. So I think there may have been a bit of a miscommunication there. That seems to have been settled out. That said, they gave a public hearing, and there was no pushback from the neighborhood.
I thought there were two public hearings. I thought there was one and I thought it was continued.
Well, there was a joint public hearing, planning and zoning, and now there's been a public hearing for planning only.
Okay, but I think at the first one, I thought there was much more of the public out, and I think that there was a number of concerns expressed at that point in time.
I agree with you. I'll say this, I didn't think there was a tremendous amount of negative reaction to it. There was concern, but it was not, hey, you can't do this. Which I'm a bit surprised, because the expansion is huge and the use is so, I'll just say this. You're allowed to have a home-based salon. You can do that if your home is under 5,000 square foot. This one's a little bit weird because it's a pre-existing 10,000 square foot. Okay, you can have a home-based salon. You can have a home-based catering business. It's been done before, it's been allowed as a permitted use. However, when I say catering, I mean you cook in your house, you put everything in tins, and now you ship it off to your client's house and you host the party there. Having a restaurant in your house in the RU that is not a permitted use. You can't have a commercial, you cannot have a restaurant in a.
Yeah, but are they proposing a restaurant or catering for their venues?
They're talking about catering for their venues.
Because I guarantee you, they probably have a massive
Yeah.
chef's kitchen.
Sure,
Yes.
and I think they're talking about two different event spaces, so they're talking multiples of 300 each or something,
Yes.
whatever the numbers are. I think that they are allowed, I think slightly different than you, I think, is that I think they are allowed to have up to 5,000 square feet of commercial use in a residential looking house on a state or county road, but it is restricted to 5,000 square feet. Okay, so I think that they could theoretically open up a restaurant at 5,000 square feet or less, or anything else like that. I think is allowed legally.
You could,
But I think
I
that,
could open Chris's Backyard Barbecue at my house.
no,
But that's what I'm saying, then that's a restaurant.
no, but you can at your house. If you own that house there, yes.
Wait, well, I'm in the RU.
You're not in the, but you're not in the,
Yeah, but
on a town or county road.
I'm definitely
You
on
must-
town road.
I know, that doesn't matter.
and do you have 5,000?
For the sake of that zoning, you must be on a state or county road and 5,000 square feet or less.
You might have me on the state or county road.
I think I do. Okay.
That might have thrown me.
I believe it's state or county road, and it's either for agriculture or for this small scale
Yeah.
commercial. Yes.
Right.
Okay, so you're allowed to have small scale commercial, meaning up to 5,000 square feet.
I believe there's the law, there's the intent. The intent is that if somebody wants to have a home-based business, I run my business out of my home, I answer a phone all day long, but nobody knows what I'm doing inside my house. And if I'm cooking inside my house, nobody knows I'm cooking inside my
Yeah,
house
but
all
you don't
day.
have people.
But you could have a home-based business too.
Yeah, and I
Legally,
do.
and no, but I'm saying, I think you're allowed to have one or two non-family members work there even.
Okay. I guess what I'm saying is that if it was just somebody, a salon in their home, okay. If it's somebody just cooking in their home and then taking the food out, okay. You can run a bed and breakfast if you're on site in the town of Goshen, okay. When you start adding these things all together and make the building 50,000 plus square foot, I don't see this as a use variance, I don't see this as much as an area variance as it needs a use variance. If you were to put this on 17M in the highway commercial, yeah, that's exactly where it belongs,
Yeah, but compare it to Glenmere Mansion.
okay?
They basically, I mean, Glenmere's a little bit larger to a certain extent, but they reinvented that mansion, that
Yes.
home,
Yes,
and turned it into something that is absolutely wonderful.
well, first,
And it is active and, you know, does a phenomenal business.
Mhm.
That's what I envision for there. Because that's a beautiful place.
it is, and we all wanna see it developed.
Exactly.
I-
Well, I'd like to see it thrive and become what they want it to become.
I mean,
I don't see an issue.
Well, yeah, there's 3 of them up the road that are similar, 2 of them are open right now. He runs,
Like,
Scotchtown. If you go up Scotchtown, he owns
Bill Benisi.
2 of them
oh,
over here.
building,
Yes.
oh.
And the one on
okay.
the opposite side is his, and the one that's next to it,
Oh,
it's
you
being
mean the
finished.
one with the barn?
Yeah,
That-
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's,
No, and
I've been
they,
to both of them, they're beautiful.
there is no doubt about it, this man,
And he's got the house next to you.
he can do a phenomenal job,
That's
and
right.
nobody,
Right.
I
But
think, is denying the quality.
Are we having that many big events that we need 4 of these catering halls, wedding halls, whatever you wanna call it?
You know what's
That's
interesting?
his decision.
But
He
they're
wants to do
all-
it.
He's
They're
actually
all
gonna
correct.
do 2 of them at this one, really. He can
Well,
run
the
2.
one thing I'll say about that is that you're maintaining an incredible place.
Mm,
You
beautiful.
know,
Oh,
that
place is
could,
beautiful.
instead of having it fall apart,
Mhm.
it would be brought back to such beauty. And it's way up there, it's not gonna, I don't feel it's going to impact anyone other than positive.
Yeah,
Well,
the house dates back from.
The only thing is the
President Will
traffic.
Bank, Gates McGarrett,
Yeah.
early
Yeah.
1900s, I mean,
Yeah.
he was chairman of that, American Brake Shoe was chairman of that.
my concerns for it were the traffic, of course,
Yeah.
the noise, a wedding venue, you know, you're gonna let out at 9, 10 at night,
Or 11 or something, yeah.
or
Yeah.
11, they did say up to 11, and you know, depending on what you'll pay for, this is what, how long they'll stay open, it is next to a residential neighborhood. Noise, light pollution is also a concern for me, again, for the neighbors next door.
And across the street, right, all around.
And across the
right
street. And I think, to finish up my thought, is if I purchase a home in that neighborhood, I can certainly expect that property is someday could be used commercial because it was once commercial, but I would not have envisioned a 50,000 square foot commercial venue that's gonna go until midnight with music and lights and,
I don't really think it's gonna impact the neighbors like you think it will. I really don't.
There were neighbors that think that the joint public hearing, from what I understood, there were neighbors there concerned about the water in their houses as of right now. Certainly, I know that neighborhood, I'm near enough to there, that I can hear the stadium at the high school. And so they were concerned, you know, they were saying, hey, we hear the stadium, we don't need to hear this wedding venue right next to us. I think the argument against that concern is that, for the most part, the wedding venue they're not proposing to do any outside tents or anything like that.
Yeah, all they do is.
they took that away, they were going to have an
Yes.
outside and they've done away with that, okay?
So I think that's takes away that possible noise. So there should be no amplified music outside. There should be no music outside, period, probably. But certainly the water study is a significant question, and the traffic study is, particularly if you have both of these venues going at the same time, or nearly the same time. You know, you bring in, I think it's 300, but I could be wrong. But if you bring in 600 people, you're talking 300 cars.
600 people,
property.
that's a lot.
I know.
Yeah, well, whose wedding has 600?
It doesn't have to be
No,
just a wedding,
it's
it could
two
be
separate
a Chamber of
ones.
Commerce, it could be a Chamber of Commerce function for the Orange County Chamber of Commerce. It could be, I have been up Scotchtown, in the barn over there, has had a function, they've had police out on the road, getting people across the road from parking across the street.
Really?
Yes. So I don't know anything about the barn, as far as the quantity of people that can handle, or the parking that it can handle. But I do know that I have seen that barn being used the people coming across from Belize or whatever, they needed the overflow parking there.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't know,
It's busy over there.
so it could be that 600 is not a far-fetched number.
But don't they, I'm sure in the plans, they have revision for, parking and everything for this expansion, correct?
They plan on expanding more parking out in front of the building.
And to the side, going towards the
Sorry, right,
neighborhood.
yeah,
Because it's still up on the hill.
And
still up on the hill.
one of the things, when we talked about the hotel rooms, and I say hotel room because somebody's paying to
It's
stay
a
overnight.
transient, it's a transient occupancy.
Yeah, I don't, they're saying, no, it's not a hotel room. Looks like a hotel room, I paid to stay in a bed, I call it a hotel room, but when, they said it would only the people that are having an event there would be able to, use the hotel rooms. Okay, so only the, it would have to be connected with an event that's going on. And Phil Dropkin on planning actually said, but who's gonna monitor that? I thought that was a great question. And it led me to the next question, was this. Hotels, leaf peeping season, hotels are just packed around here, right? So if this business wants to have a cider donut tasting, right? Come in and,
Any kind of event, right.
any kind of event. We're gonna have apple cider and donut tasting. It's gonna be, Friday night, and pay your $20 to, and since you're taking part of that, do you need a hotel room? And now that becomes a de facto hotel, and there's really no way, once you say yes, you can't go back. So how does now I have a hotel operating in the RU?
Yeah, but what differentiates that from, and they have the room, from Limoncello's Hotel or
Yeah, but-
Stagecoach Inn?
What
Limoncello's
differentiates,
has no parking.
but
so-
what differentiates them is the fact that they're in the village and not in the town.
Permitted use.
All right, apples to oranges.
All right, but
Which is why I'm saying, thank you, and this is my point, not an area variance, a use variance.
Okay.
But I think the other, let's talk a little bit about these rooms. These rooms, I think they're talking 30 rooms, which they want to claim that they should be allowed because they're accessory to the event space. Now, I think Chris's question kind of is, does that therefore mean that there have to be people who are going to the events that are held on this particular property? Or can they be held at the properties that are up on Scotchtown? The
Yeah,
other 3 that are up there. They don't have rooms up there, but they may want to be able to use these rooms here.
Yeah.
And I think that to Chris's point, I think that it's very close to being absolutely a hotel, which is not a permitted use in that zone. I think all the other uses are permitted there.
Well,
Not that
I
fun.
agree with Chris. I think it does need, use variances, and, I guess that's up to, your board to,
He doesn't determine it needs to have a use variance. Why do you say it needs to be a use variance?
well, because if they're going to say have overflow, and maybe some people are coming in that aren't exactly at that venue, and they're going to stay. And another thing too, how could you even monitor that?
The fact that we can't monitor it.
And why would you want to,
Doesn't
what,
make-
you gonna go stand up there and say to them, okay, are you staying here, are you
No,
having an
I
event
can
here?
tell you that we have a place, Fordham University, Fordham had a place over
Yes.
there.
there was a big huge outcry.
And remember that? And they don't trust the priests and everything else?
Mhm.
And I guarantee you, I never made a bed check there.
Oh, I remember that.
Don't
That
even
was a
see
long time
cars
ago.
sometimes. right
Now,
now.
I've never seen any, I've never had to complain about that,
Yeah.
but look, we are not gonna do bed checks, we're never gonna do that.
I also think that, I'm talking about in the aggregate. Once again, if it's just a salon, okay, if it's just a catering, okay, if it's just a B&B, okay. When you put these things all together, you have created a unicorn. We don't have this on our books where you can run this type of an event space at 50,000 square feet in the RU and call it a residential use.
But the big thing right there is the 50,000 square feet. You can't do that in the RU zone more than 5,000 square feet, period.
So that's gonna need a variance.
That could use a variance. Now, I think their variances that they're gonna want to say, they have to go from 5,000 square feet up to 50,000 square feet. And that's the variance that they want. I think that's legitimately phrased.
Right.
That's an area variance, so.
That's an area variance.
That's area.
Now, so I'm asking, why is it a use
Substantial,
variance?
it's tenfold increase.
I'm not
Yeah.
fighting it or anything. I'm saying I think that's an area variance as opposed to a use variance.
Yeah.
I think that it may be a use variance, and if you call this a hotel, for 30 rooms, for transient use, that's,
But are they going to have, catering or a restaurant, or are they going to be able to have like a B&B type of situation up there?
no,
or-
well, unless you have an event there or something like that, that's what they're saying.
The idea being you're having a wedding, so you're gonna
No,
occupy.
I get it, yep.
Yeah, and the next morning, breakfast is served in the dining room.
Right.
You can call it whatever you want. I would call it a B&B or a hotel.
Yes.
Which would be absolutely fine if it was in the highway commercial or CO.
In which case, 50,000 square feet would not be the issue.
There you go,
Right.
you're good to go the whole way.
Okay, so the bottom line is, it's not. So,
It's what's not, well, it's
not
what?
in that, commercial zone, so.
No, it's not.
I think that what you're talking about is the variances. And if they get approved for the variances, then the rest will follow through.
But I think.
If they don't, then that's a different ballgame.
But I think that any of the uses, except for the hotel, any of the uses Chris has talked about are permitted up there, up to 5,000 square feet.
Yeah, but it's 50,000.
I understand that, so what we're talking about is an area variance from 5 to 50. I haven't heard a whole bunch of arguments that there's that they need a use variance, except for if we're calling the 30 rooms a hotel.
Well, the other thing, how do we feel though about putting all of these permitted uses together? I don't think the code was, that the intent wasn't that you can put as many of these businesses as you want under one roof. It was 5,000 square feet, and because it's 5,000 square feet, that's a natural barrier to having more than a salon or a catering business, you know, but.
Look, I think the 5,000 is the limit, but I think that if you wanted to put a salon and a catering business and a restaurant into a 5,000 square foot building, then it would be permitted.
And I'm saying that I don't think that's the intent of the variance. But then again,
I don't think it's what we're asking for the variance. I know it's not.
But there's no point in them putting a salon and a catering business under 5,000 square feet with 30 hotel rooms. It won't serve what they wanna do.
exactly. I'm thinking it's a fantastic business
Mhm.
in the wrong zone.
Well, yeah, but it's there. It's sitting there.
Use variance.
So, look, I think, and this is not me, because I'm not on the ZBA, so it doesn't matter, but my opinion would be, they have a 10,000 square foot, whatever that building is right
10,000.
now. I would give them the variance to use that building up to that limit.
Isn't that gonna be where the hotel rooms are though?
No, they're adding another 40,000 square feet to it.
Oh, for the hotel rooms.
Well,
Big
for
What are
everyone,
they
room,
gonna use the
everything.
big building for?
they're gonna use, that's gonna be part of it, but then they're gonna build a wing on each side, I think, for events over here, events over there, and so I think that, yeah,
Well, is this actually been proposed like that?
yes.
So,
And all of these plans are available online, and the drawings are spectacular. It looks amazing.
okay.
Beautiful,
So-
absolutely beautiful. And by the way, we have said, this builder makes a beautiful
Oh,
building.
he does.
He really does.
He does.
No question about that. Nicest guy in the world, whole family, wonderful. I'm just saying that if to allow this is to just ignore the codes.
They
You
did
just-
that with Legoland. They ignored
Yeah, no,
everything
they changed the
with
code.
Legoland.
Okay,
They
they
changed the code.
Yeah, well,
Look, well, if the town board chooses to change the code, nobody's gonna stop them.
Like I said,
But they haven't changed the code.
a use variance. If you carve out a piece there and make it a use variance. However, that's a slippery slope, but that at least makes it palatable for me. It conforms to the code. Otherwise, I have to look over a bunch of different codes. And I have to, again, allow this in the aggregate, all of these different uses under one roof, that's gigantic.
But the big question is it a use variance, area variance? Area variance is not that difficult to make the argument about. And I'm not saying that it should be go 10%, but the use variance is almost impossible. This town has never, ever, since I've been here, given a use variance. And they've supported things. Twice they supported projects that they thought were great, turned them down, the ZBA turned them down and said, no, you can't get it, try the town board.
As Carol has said, it's a beautiful property. I'd like to see it developed. I don't see how I can do that without throwing away the codes. I'm looking for a workaround. I don't see it.
Well, I think you need like a roundtable conversation.
So, and there's gonna be plenty of conversations,
Yeah.
once again, on the agenda tonight, only because they had a public hearing. Do we, as the board, have any notes that we'd like to pass along to planning or zoning to say, this is how we see this as an environmental factor? Any thoughts?
No.
No? Any thoughts, John?
Well, I don't wanna side rail this thing, but I do have a question that's popped into my mind, and that is, it's 125 acres, is that correct?
Oh, it's-
145.
145 acres,
Yeah.
It's a.
It's basically, the back of the property is pretty much all wetland.
It's unusable, but yes.
but it's a huge piece of property. And so, how many acres of that are they putting, does it take to do the project?
So, looking here on the map, if you'll, they wanna put,
I
see
think
there's
it's
a,
all gonna fit right here.
yeah, you see this parking lot here?
Yeah.
They're gonna bring the parking lot out to about here, right? They're talking about putting some parking down front,
Yeah.
redo this. This gets moved out for the utilities, and possibly they were talking about on-site water, depending on how much water they're gonna need. They haven't done well testing yet. This is, I forget what this is, but it's an outbuilding that they may or may not use. So
This is their
it's,
dollhouse now.
and the dollhouse, right, but so basically, this is all the front, but the property encompasses all the way back here. But again, that is, so that's all wetland.
So, I'm thinking, in the zoning zone, it's, residential use, right?
Yep.
That's RU.
Yes.
And so, the town, those could be a bunch of 2-acre lots throughout the whole thing,
Is
right?
that the AQ3 or
It's,
6?
it's AQ6 up there, but it could be 3 acre lots certainly, or the equivalent of 3 acres.
And so,
But, what,
And then
it
each
would
one
never
of
get
those could
that.
have 5,000 feet of,
Yeah.
I'm just taking another approach.
No, you're right, and we would go down from that, only because to get to that number for 3 acres per house, you have to take away all the wetlands and constrained lands and all that. So the 140 now probably could come down to certainly, I'm gonna say 25 acres, say. 25 acres would get you 8 houses,
Four
or
houses per acre.
4 houses, 4 to 8 houses, something like that.
So, and each one of those could have the 5,000.
Could be 5,000 square
Square
feet,
feet
yes.
of business.
Yes.
So if you pound that all together, it would be significantly
Well,
less, even though
what-
this is a big project.
Once again, John, you are making new law. That's, you are
No,
creating a
he's-
whole new law.
He manipulated the
I-
law.
you-
No, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to create law, I'm just trying to get some understanding of what's going on.
Hey, listen, I like the creative thinking, but that does require basically you're making a unicorn, which
Yeah,
if the planning board decides to do that, that's up to them.
They've never done it that way, and at times I thought they should kind of look at it that way. But they have never said, well, could you get this in alternative? And I think the other restraint on that is gonna be, road frontage. I think road frontage is probably 200 feet or 300 feet.
It's
Road
200,
frontage.
200 per.
What are they
Perfect.
doing with the dollhouse in that case?
Last time I heard, I thought they were gonna preserve it just for the look.
yeah, that's
Yes,
part of the.
interesting.
For photos and such for
What do
weddings.
you guys think?
It's a beautiful place, it's getting run down, especially the dollhouse. I would love to see something there, 50,000 square feet, no. No.
I think it's a matter of scale, it's wrong. I think the uses are okay, I'd love to see them use that. But take
And
that-
who can afford to have a wedding with, like you said, Carol, 300 people or 600 people?
Oh, there are people
I
out there.
mean, yes, there are, but
Probably nobody in this room,
how many
but-
here in Goshen that they're gonna have 4 events or 5 events, cause there's 3 on Scotchtown Avenue, 5 events in
There-
one night that they need all of those.
This developer is so efficient at his business that I think he's drawing from the tri-state area.
Sure.
They're that good.
And in all
And I
honesty-
think they'd be full-time busy.
Oh,
And my-
I know people that have come from Rockland and beyond to go to the barn
Yeah,
for their weddings. which I was surprised, but that's how popular it is.
No,
And they
nobody,
do a beautiful job.
I
nobody
mean,
puts
before
millions.
Villa Venetia was Villa Venetia, I
And that was
remember
a
what it
mess
was.
before.
I had my daughter
It's
Sweet
beautiful
16 there.
now.
Villa Roma, not Villa
No,
Roma.
Venezia.
No, it wasn't
Before it
always
was,
the
it was,
Venetia.
Oh, it was something, yeah, and it was
I'm
like,
talking 20-something
yeah,
years
and
ago.
I went there for an event that I was really disappointed.
Yeah, it was an
It
old
was
building.
run down, yeah.
It was new
And
when I
then
did my
went
high school
to,
prom there.
A Christmas party or something that we had in there, and I couldn't believe the difference. It was beautiful.
Oh, he does a
Can't
fantastic
manage
property.
to-
Nobody,
Yeah, that's,
They
that
They
was
do
a
look
Christmas party.
beautiful. And as a matter of fact, my granddaughter had her prom there.
Mm-hmm.
Look, there is no doubt about it, nobody's denying the ability of this gentleman to pull something off really nice.
I think it would be great to have though, I mean, of all the business for Goshen to have, this would be a wonderful business to have. I just feel bad about the neighbors and the one woman specifically who the driver would come right out to her bedroom or she'd see headlights all night long. But I think there's a solution to that, trees or whatever.
Shades.
Change, yeah.
Change the way to drive.
They have
But I mean,
things
if
called-
anything that's gonna come to Goshen, a warehouse of blah,
Oh,
this
yeah,
is something that.
exactly.
No, I-
What is the
I'd love to
size
see
of,
them do a business plan for using the existing building to the maximum.
I agree with you.
I mean,
We've
even
asked-
if they added another 5,000 feet to it, which is still oversized, what is the size of the buildings on Scotchtown Avenue?
I don't know, but
They're not 50,000 square feet.
I'm not sure they're much more than what's existing now.
It
And
was,
then what John said, kind of, I mean, I was thinking the same thing. If they put a separate building for the salon, it takes away from that huge thing. It's still another
it was, and it was,
business that don't belong there, but
it was asked at the joint public hearing that we had for zoning and planning. One of the things about getting these variances is that the zoning board can only approve the minimum variance required to get the project done. So it was asked, can we scale this down? Is there some way you could scale this down and still get what you need? And the answer was absolutely not, has to be this size. Okay, so that said, look, every applicant has to shoot the moon, right? They have to ask for everything, and if they don't get that, they can come back with a modified plan. I don't know if that's their plan or not. At this point, does the ERB have any notes that we want to pass along? And this is nowhere near done, there's plenty of time. But at this time, do we want to pass along any notes to planning or zoning?
Did he buy the whole place?
I understand he bought it. I
Okay,
think
so-
it's closed, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
So he owns it.
I mean, that's real commitment, right? And the family said, we're committed, we want to be here.
Huge.
I think they do too.
However, I heard the number was not that big.
Hmm?
Heard the number was not that big.
Well, I'm sure that they have a lot of work to do.
No, I'm not denying what he's gonna put into it. The purchase of the property is not as significant as what he's gonna put into it. by the
Oh,
way.
yeah.
But-
So I'm sure that the fact that he bought it, he's probably, like you said, asking for what he wants. And there's a possibility if it does not get approved or, he has to scale down, he'll probably come back with something a little different.
Right, that's not our question. The question is, what impacts? And certainly, we're talking traffic, we're talking water.
But wasn't there a lady in here who said she had a lawsuit to stop this?
Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
that's the woman
So that
across the
right.
street.
So that was, I was saying, the Article 78, which seems to have been settled, there seems to have been a miscommunication. If my interpretation was correct, the building inspector said that there would be no significant change. He wasn't saying no significant change overall, the project. He was saying just no significant change to the existing 10,000 square foot building. In other words, it's still gonna be white, it's still gonna be that building, it's just gonna have this huge addition on it, but he's not talking about the huge addition because that wasn't in front of him. He can only make a determination based on the 10,000 square foot building at this time. So I think once that got settled, that's why we're talking about it again. I have written down, water use is a concern. Rooms accessory to the event space, I don't know, is that an environmental issue?
No,
think so.
Right.
no, that's
We-
an
okay.
interpretation issue.
I guess the parking area.
The parking area, will it be expanded and, this was actually, it's in the notes somewhere, they gave estimates, I will say they've given about 3 different estimates. They are changing as they go along, as they're getting feedback from the boards.
Well, they could mitigate the parking problem with, if they use some of their other properties, they can have them bust up.
Well, there's the other question is associated with other properties, is that an ERB issue?
If they have approved parking somewhere else, then
They can use a shuttle, bring
then
that in.
that's a way of mitigating some of the traffic impacts.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna leave that in, we'll leave
Sorry,
that in.
that may be a consideration that they should consider.
Okay,
Uh,
any other
Would
notes?
that also work the opposite way, that you said that they had the police on Scotchtown
So
Avenue
they,
walking people across the street because they don't have enough parking? So would it work the opposite way, that
they can
they'd
bus them
shuttle
from
people?
here to there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they should,
Well, now you're bringing traffic
here that does,
to the town that we're,
right,
the town has no benefit from, right? I mean, if you're,
yep.
I'm saying if you have a facility that is, paying taxes and bringing people into our town and there's a parking issue, okay, that's growing pains. But if you have a facility in another town and you're just using us as a parking lot, there's really no benefit to Goshen for that, is what I'm saying. So even though they own the 2 properties, we should not, I would not want to see this property used as an overflow parking for,
No, this property wouldn't be used for the overflow. The
No.
overflow would be at the other property.
no, we don't know
No.
that. The other
It could
parking
be
lots
either
are,
way.
the other parking lots are definitely too small. Everybody has said that. The barn is much too small, so.
The barn's smaller, yeah. I don't know.
But the other issue is, ridge top construction.
What?
Ridge top construction. Any new construction on this property would need to be below the ridge top. Right, if I look at this, I should see either trees behind it or trees in front of it. That should not be the building and then the sky.
They're right on the top of the hill. I mean, you're gonna,
I'm not
And you
disagreeing
do
with
see
it.
trees in front of it and behind it.
Well, I'm not saying you don't, I'm just saying with the new construction, they would have to comply with that.
Mhm.
What's existing right there right now, I think you have, and it is what it is.
So this is under 9741 rural siting principles and
Right.
sub F, and that's what it says on sub F.
Okay, so it says, site buildings so that they do not protrude above the treetops of hills or the crest lines of hills as seen from public space places and public roads. Right, so either it could be low enough that the ridge of the hill is really above it, or the trees have to be above it. One or the other.
or it could be an illusion. If you're right there,
Illusion.
Maple Avenue, you look at our park, you're here, you're looking up, the trees are 60, 70 feet high,
Yep.
and the house is only gonna be 30, but you're gonna see the house.
And it is an issue like that, and yes, it is, and this would have to be evaluated.
The illusion
And
is,
yes,
the illusion is actually called forced perspective. I looked this up because we've got this coming up on another issue, but
Okay.
exactly for that.
Yes.
This is used by photographers and cinematographers, it's used in the movies, and Disney is fantastic at using this. I couldn't believe it, but the Magic Kingdom,
Yeah,
that building is not nearly as big as you think. When you get up on it, you're like, way small, but it looked huge from back there, and that's because of the way they built Main Street with this forced perspective. So
Yeah.
you knew stuff you didn't even know.
But anyhow, that is a requirement for any new construction. I would think that anything existing is pre-existing non-conforming if it's not in compliance.
Well, existing, but if
I
you're.
said existing, if you add to it, now it's added to it. It's no longer pre-existing non-conforming, it's new.
Now you've got really a big block up on the hill, which again, to allow it, we
But
all
does
have
he
to.
want 50,000 square feet on one side? What is he
No,
doing
it's
on
going
the
the
other
whole way,
side?
it's going the whole way. across. I mean,
Going
I don't know how wide he's going now.
But wait a minute, behind it?
No, he's adding to both sides.
All right, so you're adding to both sides.
Yeah.
So you'd still have the house in the center.
You still have that is existing. And so I think one of the things, and I'm not sure whether Frank tried to address it or not, it must, in this zone to get this commercial use, it also must have a residential look.
Okay. Yeah, it would, well, you would
Yeah.
have to build something to coincide with the building that's there, which is that old.
But I'm not sure you can make
So, I'm sorry.
anything
we-
5,000 or 50,000 square feet look like a house.
So that's just the layout. There are some good pictures in there. I'll find them for you, but you can, that building in the middle is the existing, and the add-ons are left and right, as Neil was saying.
But I think there's also a little part behind too.
Yeah, they would be behind it, yeah.
No, they're alongside of it for the most part.
You can pinch and zoom on that if you wanna zoom in, Kara, if that helps. So it doesn't seem like we don't have a lot to say about this just yet, because also we don't know what the plan is
I think
just
the
yet.
EAF but they are, this is the point at which they're talking about the EAF.
By the way, the EAF is not in planning, I asked the other day. I thought we talked about it tonight, it's not there.
Yeah, okay. So the other issue in the EAF, and then let's just have this conversation, because Rick Golden and Kelly Norton always used to fight with us about this.
Mhm.
And they were fighting really on behalf of the applicant. An EAF, if they choose to do an EAF instead of an EIS,
Mhm.
has no limit.
It's gotta be parking because there's cars.
If you do an EAF and it takes you a year to do an EAF, and you come in with a study and you think you've answered all the questions, the planning board can, or the lead agency can at that point in time say, while you were gone or while you were doing your work, we thought of something else we want you to study. And so that can start again. And there is no limit as to how often they can do that. There's no limit as to how much they can add to that. Which is why Rick Golden and Kelly Norton always used to insist that you really should consider an EIS. Because an EIS has a scoping document, and you can't expand on the scoping document after it's approved. And you can't add to it at the end that, hey, in the meantime, unless there's something totally outrageous, obviously should have been added. But essentially, you can't add, keep on adding, or keep on going back.
So are you saying the EIS is, are we saying time limited, or?
The EIS is limited as to what the town can change, is limited, and the EIS has times that you hand that in to me, and I have to have a response within 60 days. You hand that in to me, I have to have a response within 30 days. There are time limits, because of an EIS, there are time limits on the planning board or on the town, not on the applicant. The applicant can take 3 years to come back, and all of a sudden, here's my EIS. Now you have to have the answers by, I think it's either 45 days or 60 days. I think it might be 60 days the first time.
So who would benefit from the EIS?
What really happens with the, well,
But the board could say
Rick Golden
we're
and
gonna
always
just
felt-
extend it.
yeah, Rick Golden always felt that the advantage was to the applicant because the town can't keep on adding to it.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, the applicants always try to avoid it because they always have this onerous thing like, oh, the EIS is gonna be horrible. Scroll through those. There we go.
Oh, wow.
Is that something we want to,
That just like the house that's up there now, right?
Oh, wow.
Pretty much.
so is that something that,
I don't, I would certainly suggest, I don't know.
we can put a pin in that one.
I think the question I have is, that there was a public hearing about this, and there's very much, and we always have these public hearings sooner rather than later, and the public really can't say much of the comments about what there are, because so much is unknown at this point in time. So I think it would be beneficial, even with an EAF, to have kind of a scoping for the neighbors, because you can get their comments now. It's gonna be much less painful on the applicant. Yeah,
Absolutely beautiful.
but there's the existing house. This and that is,
Absolutely beautiful.
sure, that looks just like every other house in here. Every other 5,000 square foot house looks like that. But Carol, I'm not disagreeing with you. It
It's
is
beautiful.
gorgeous.
Absolutely.
And,
Oh, my God.
Okay,
okay,
I think, yeah, we're
We
good on
beat
this.
this up, yeah.
We'll put together some,
Did you guys see this?
Oh, I was at the meeting though.
So beautiful.
sure.
So beautiful.
can you grab it?
You can scroll.
Yeah, you gotta grab it, just take the whole iPad.
Here, let me see.
How you? Okay, so I would suggest that the town planning board consider, even though it's not normally done, that they consider doing a semi-scoping thing for the EAF, just so the neighbors can speak up now. Otherwise, if the neighbors come up with something else at the end of this and say, hey, you should have considered this, the planning board can say, yep, we should have. I think it helps
Okay, so I got that down, the IS and stuff, yeah.
It's kind of helping, the planning board is kind of helping the applicant too, by taking that away from the public somewhat.
Yep. Because you can see this thing just getting dragged on.
Oh, yeah.
Forever.
Look, it takes you 6 months to a year, and it's gonna take close to a year probably to look at all this stuff.
Okay.
Now, look, I can hit you at that point. I saved this, I didn't tell you about this because I wanted to extend it.
Okay, do you want to
Okay,
move on to
yes.
Jessup Switch?
Yep, what's the next one?
Jessup Switch Road.
This is
Warehouse.
which road? Okay, anything else on Club Ontoraga?
Again, we'll have time to come back to that, but I just like the idea of putting together some notes now, because it's a big fish, so.
Yeah.
The Jessup Switch Warehouse is, down there on the border of, the village of Florida. And, this is, Mr. Mulrad has 3 existing warehouses. He's adding a 4th one, but he's also adding 2 parcels of land to it, so it's kind of it's a bit of a unique animal. He was originally requesting 4 variances. The applicant has been, I think, quite accommodating and has really knocked it down to 2 variances, one of which is the parking in the front of the building, which I don't think is gonna be a problem because they're willing to screen with foliage and stuff. The sticking point that I think that he's got right now with zoning is that the current code allows for 70% impervious coverage. They started at 87% impervious coverage, they're down to 82% impervious coverage. What makes this a bit of a boondoggle is that he has 3 existing warehouses on the property. They were built over the years. And now wanting to add this 4th one, even though he's added these other properties, he's still, 12% over on the impervious coverage. This area it's environmentally sensitive in that it is right up against the black dirt. It does flood quite often. Zoning did have a public hearing. Members of the public surrounding area, they did come out to say that they're concerned about flooding in that area. They flood often. 70% to 82%. For me personally, it says 70% for a reason. I made the point that number was not an arbitrary number. That number is set there from hydrologists, scientists. It has to do with water recharge of the aquifer. It has to do with heat sink. It has to do with the environment. It has to do with animals and how they move in the area. So I'm kind of stuck on that 70%. I'm open to other ideas from zoning as it goes through the zoning. It will be in front of zoning again. That's just the update, guys. We've talked about it before, but does anybody have any thoughts on that plan?
That's about the last building that can fit back there.
Yeah, it is.
Because you're just about on to,
You are, you're up against the next road.
right, because there's just so much happening all the way back there.
They've used the entire property,
Yeah.
which, is exactly what a developer is supposed to do. But that said, you've used the property, and the comment was that, we didn't foresee, this building coming, which I didn't accept because, they're prolific builders, they're good warehouse builders. So yeah, of course you saw this coming. They also did say that there are 2 athletic fields there that are owned by the Florida School District. Next to that field is another open field that the Mulrads will be future development. So it's always future development. So the idea that they didn't see this coming, I don't accept that. And once again, the developer wants to get all they can, shoot the moon, don't blame them one single bit. I have asked for a plan showing what would it take, what building size could you put on there and get 70%?
Yeah.
The applicant has stated that because they have a scheduled tenant, this tenant, if it makes any difference, and it makes no difference to me because I'm talking about the environment. The birds and the fish don't care about your company that's moving from California to Florida, New York, and if you don't give us this, they'll go somewhere else. All right, I don't deal well with that kind of bullying, it's not, you know, you'll get somebody else
Do
to.
they know what's going in there?
So the company is a company that assembles washing products, squeegees, sponges and such. They will not be manufacturing on site, just assembling. But they are combining, they have a facility in New Jersey and a facility in California. They're combining them into one spot. Before that, the applicant says they need a building this size. Once again, to their credit, they got it from 87 down to 82% by making the parking lot smaller. They are a little bit hampered in that there are some water features on the property that they don't count as impervious surface, right? If it's a pond or whatever, it can't be counted in. So I think they did some work.
What about the road, going out there?
Jessup Switch Road,
Yeah, that.
there's that little bridge.
Coming up to the, Pumpkin Swamp there.
Planning has
Because-
asked about it. They did say that the bridge has been updated, but nobody could find the paperwork exactly what kind of weight that bridge would hold.
It's a little sketchy back there.
It is, right?
Yeah.
This is something that planning took into consideration, but I think it's a very good question for ERB to say, as it pertains to traffic, and also as it pertains to the environmentally sensitive area.
That's not a paved road though, is it, not going out there?
It's paved to a point and then it becomes gravel.
Exactly, yeah.
So
So I guess.
They're
it
talking
would-
about the road that's on Moran's property, or are you talking
Yeah,
about?
if you go into
Just the swamp?
Remy and you pass Sam's
Yep.
Meat and you pass the sports building, keep
Yes.
going.
That's the first two.
Yeah, then you keep going, I mean, it just keeps going, but the road kind of looks like something that, really is not well-traveled.
Out of Deliverance? Fair enough.
I think actually if you stay on his property and don't go over to the other side, I think it's, you're almost going through all paved parking lots.
Yeah.
Existing three.
So how would you access this? Probably off of Pumpkin Swamp?
Yeah, yes, what's interesting is there were those three other warehouses. There will be a gated roadway that can be opened by fire or police or EMS, but there will not be through traffic from those three to this one. This one will be a standalone access off of Pumpkin Swamp to Jessup Switch. There was a question there also about being able to use the fields. It's
Well, will they have sizable trucks going, because that bridge is a little,
according to the applicant, the trucks will be box trucks, not 18-wheelers. But a box truck can be really heavy too, so I don't know. But that was something that was discussed, and everybody seemed to think that the bridge was acceptable. I believe town engineer Hoffman was going to at some point get confirmation on the actual weight limit on that bridge. It was discussed that it had been updated, but the signage was gone, or something along those lines. It's definitely, it's not the old bridge I remember as a kid. It's been updated
no, yeah.
since then, but I don't know what the tonnage is.
It's kind of like a road that you say to yourself before you turn onto it, do I really belong here?
Am I good?
Am I allowed here?
You're gonna have to put a sign, yes, this is where you're supposed to turn for this warehouse.
I know, it's a weird
And
setup.
then we have concern about the width too. It seemed like the last
Yeah.
time we talked about this, it seemed like that road was very
It
narrow.
was narrow. Yep.
Which
So you
I
start
believe,
running trucks back and forth across it.
I think they agreed to go ahead and do some expansion on it, and I think they were told, there was some fight about that as to at what point in time does that need to be made wider, either before construction starts or after it's done. And there was a big discussion on that, rather heated.
I remember that.
Yep, so I'm not sure what that resolution was. John, you wanna talk about that? You know more about that area than most of us.
The road is very narrow, it's very steep on the side, I mean, have to widen that out, it's gonna be a major project to stabilize that road. But, is this, all these buildings on one lot there, or this is a separate lot that they're putting this in?
From one road to the other, it's multiple properties.
Multiple properties.
Right,
Oh,
in other words, that
right.
one all the way out there, Morad's out there. Actually, the grass in front of Morad's,
Yeah,
is actually in the village of Florida, I think.
Really?
I think so, but I think that the building is in the town of Goshen. So
Wow.
yeah, it's weird out there.
Does Al own all of it?
Yes, he owns all the buildings, from the first building all the way back, yep.
Yeah,
So-
does that help you? Wanna show them? And you can actually see the red kind of boxed outline here, that this is a lot, that's a lot, and then this whole thing is a lot.
Yeah, there's a number of lots, but what they're showing here is only 4 buildings. We know that he has 2 more up forward.
Oh, yeah, those
Yeah,
are different.
yeah, different property, but yes, they're all done.
So,
Hmm.
as this is in zoning right now, are there any thoughts on, again, really only 2 variances are the parking in front of the building, which there's really no other way to do it because of the way the trucks have to enter and exit.
Mhm.
However, that front, what they're calling the front of the building, already has some screen there, some foliage. And then there is that, the Quaker Creek, and then there are some residences in front that border Pumpkin Swamp. So,
What's the definition of?
Creek.
Quaker Creek, yeah.
Quaker Creek, the creek itself is down here.
Oh.
It actually runs,
Oh,
I think it
I'm
runs right
thinking
there, probably
of
right
the-
through, that's probably going
I'm
through there,
thinking of
that
the
bridge.
deli.
Probably need that bridge, right? The question I have right now, off the top of my head is, what's the front of the building?
Yeah,
And I
was
think-
it
I
a
think-
corner lot?
Well, I'm not sure that this is a road. Is this a road, is this a road here, or is this their driveway?
That's gotta be the main drive there.
Here we go. So this is what you got, and that's Quaker Creek going
Yeah,
between.
Quaker Creek is right here, and it goes right down to there, no, that's Quaker Creek. Here you go, John. So, unless that's a road,
This is the creek.
and I'm not sure that's a road, unless that's a road going up to the other warehouses, and I'm not sure it's considered to be a road. I'm not sure it's not a driveway.
This is where he wants to put it.
Well,
Right
there's,
in here.
there's no
So
other
this is a
road.
lot here.
This is just a switch, that's a road.
This is
No,
the
no,
whole
no, I'm
24
saying
acre
in
lot
front
here,
of this,
including
Yeah.
these two,
this
because
road goes
warehouse
all the way
there.
back to Remy.
No, they're saying it's gonna be cut off. Up the end there, the gate's gonna be here, or the gate's
Yes.
gonna be at the other end?
No, the gate will be right there.
The gate's gonna be right here, so.
So those three warehouses will be accessed via 17A, and this solo warehouse will be
Pumpkin
accessed.
Swamp.
Yeah.
So then, all the
Why
work,
would they do that?
probably this person wants it that way,
I
I'm
don't know.
guessing.
I don't know why, but
So my question right away then is, I think that the front of the building is here. This is the front of the building. And so we're talking about these are the parking
Yes.
lots that are in front now.
It kind of, there aren't too many options.
Sure there are. Maybe. They could theoretically make the parking lot out here more. To me,
no,
like-
because you're into the wetland there, and it doesn't show it on that
No,
map,
it
but
doesn't show on that one, okay.
that is a retention pond,
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, I knew the retention pond's here.
And there's another one here that's,
Okay. That's the wetland there.
right, wetland that they just can't build in. Which
Okay,
is-
so, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, that is really hurting the applicant, when, we're talking about impervious surface, because those wetlands can't be included, they have to be taken out.
Right.
Now, the thing is, if this was one building going onto that piece of property, I would look at that and say, there's a unique thing about this property that needs a variance, because it's unique in that it has this much wetland on it. In order to make it buildable, you have to give a variance. Well, it already has 3 buildings on it, okay? So you can't say you can't build on it without this variance, you just can't build more. Unless, now, does the ERB have an opinion on that? I'm just one voice, but
There's no land next to him that he can acquire to,
No, you're kind of at the end.
See,
I mean, going,
North,
you know, you make a good point, John, because these two athletic fields, these are the warehouses, these big green fields, these are athletic fields owned by the Florida School District. This field here,
Yeah,
that is owned by the same applicant. Now, they say they wanna use that for a future building. Well, if you included that piece of property in this, you now got your 70%, but you can't build on that because you're using that as inventory for your impervious surface.
yeah.
But they don't wanna do that, I don't blame them, because that's money out of their pocket. So, I guess my point is, it's not that you can't do it, you don't want to do it.
Well, the question I have, or the suggestion I have, is why not make some of these parking spaces porous pavement?
Well, that's what I was just thinking. It kind of would fit in, did
Well,
they
it's a
say it
whole
was?
new idea here, I'm liking that, parking,
If you made that porous pavement, or made that, whatever,
Yeah,
so that it's not blacktop or not concrete, then I think I can get it down, I have to get 5%, 7%.
12%, you're
Right.
off by 12.
Yep, so I have to go down 12%.
You could do a shale base with some
Yeah.
iron on top of it.
You know who has that? The sports complex out here has it. That one, the overflow, yeah, they have that, they have porous pavement there.
I can't remember where we had the discussion, but I think that item 4 doesn't count as
No, it doesn't,
impervious.
only because we consider the fact, item 4 doesn't because it compacts so much.
Right.
And it ends
But-
up being impervious.
But
Yeah,
what
but
does,
you know
what,
what?
Impervious.
Item 4 gets washed away.
No,
So,
item 4 is when you have that silt, the fines in there.
well, yeah, item 4 though, if you put item 4, even if you want to do like a riprap even, if you want to do a really big base, and then put item 4 on top of it, people say, oh, the item 4 is going to pack down, it's gonna stay. Yeah, well, it doesn't work, because the way the rain is and the way everything goes around here, it does wash away, it does get cracks in it, it erodes the whole thing.
Right.
The only, even millings, like millings would be more towards packing down to get like an impervious, but even millings are not, perfect.
No,
Well,
they
what-
don't set up as much
Mm-mm.
as pavement.
what,
But look, we can do this, if I just took all these
But
parking
it's
spaces
just
here
gravel.
and made that gravel, right? Every one of these spaces here are gonna be gravel, that's gonna be pavement in the middle, because that's where the traffic is. And so every one of these becomes gravel over here, I think I
I
can get,
think that'd be
like,
perfect.
would the code, does our code allow that though?
I don't know the code. My handicap parking's over here, that's all I have to have that. I'm not sure that I can't park on gravel. In fact, I think I might, whatever, you can do it with grid, you can do it with, they have GeoGrid, that you can park on top of that and have grass growing through, and still park on it. But no, I'm
Well,
not
it's-
talking about.
It's like, you know, Quaker Creek, the actual deli. Across the street from is where a lot of their parking is. That's the same thing. It's just like gravel
But
or
again, they're not in the
item.
town, but yeah. But you can do gravel, you can do some kind of porous things in here, and just keep this solid right here where all the traffic is. That's gonna be something that's gonna pack down more. You're gonna make this solid back here because that's packed down more. But right
You don't
here,
have to worry about that.
you know, if I need to go more, I can possibly make more gravel here too. Just not the handicap spots.
I put down notes, I like the idea. The other part of that is, how big does the building actually have to be? If you
Sure,
kept it at 70%, or is there a number that the ERB is happy with to say, get it to this percentage and we would be in favor of it? Or are we just stuck on the 70%?
I don't think it's ours to make the decision
I
on
was just
the
gonna
number.
say, I don't think it.
I think
that's
that
in our
they need to
wheelhouse.
make that case to the ZBA.
Yeah,
But I think we'll just come up with some ideas as to how they can get to the point of being closer to 70%.
right.
But I was actually out in Beacon, which is kind of a weird spot for me to be, but actually, what they had there was paved, or I think concrete parking spaces, but in between each one, they had like a gutter that was porous, stone filled. So that, again, you didn't have the runoff, and you had more recharge, which is another concern. But, you know, I think we can do something there to make that work.
So a non-traditional parking lot with recharge to the aquifer,
Yeah.
whether it's GeoGrid or
Geogrid or just gravel or whatever. Porous pavement, and I've seen porous pavement where you throw the water on there and it disappears instantly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Porous
They,
pavement.
one of the concerns I've always heard is, well, what do you do with, when you put sand down during the winter, does it start plugging up the holes? And I've heard of people vacuuming the sand down, but I don't know.
Okay, got some notes for
I
that.
said the other thing, they could, if they wanted to really worry about recharging, maybe cut down this, maybe they could cut down on the size of the, storage, the stormwater storage, is if they had some kind of recharge right at the, parking areas. And one of the things that they've done, that they did a really good job over at Lowe's in Chester of designing it. And what they had was all these islands like that there, they had the curbs, but they had openings in the curbs so that the water went into there.
Yep.
And they were, all of them were mini, storage areas, and it was, porous so they can go down here. And there's the vent for the overflow was like 12 inches above the bottom.
Mhm.
Now, what happened when they did the construction is that the guys who constructed it knew that it was wrong because you never stick the overflow pipe at the top, stick it at the bottom. So it drains right away. So they did that instead of following design. But you could get more recharge in each one of these otherwise. If you're trying to get recharge, would you cut down possibly the size of the stormwater ponds?
Okay. I'm liking the porous pavement idea.
I don't see any reason why they can't get all porous pavement in there, except for the handicap parking space.
Okay. I got notes. Anything else?
How about the screening for the building and stuff like that? You do a better job than you did on the other buildings?
He's gotta do better, and John is correct. He did some screening of the other buildings, and it's garbage.
Planning's on that. I've been to the meetings and they are definitely all over about what type of, also as part of a variance to allow that parking, would be, I think we did say that it would have to be, approved by planning. You know, purpose planted, foliage, and that, planning does a good job on that. Once they're on it, they make sure we've got it.
See, I really want to take care, I really want to go back to the idea that this looks like they're trying to make this road frontage here.
Yeah,
And if that goes right there, then it's not much of a road if it stops on your property or at the end of your use.
I
Is
think
it
the
driveway?
reason for that was trucking. That separated, trucks coming around, that was the idea.
Oh, this is
That's
gonna
how-
be all the way around there.
Right, that's how they did away
But
with.
that's still a driveway then.
Yeah,
It's not a road, it doesn't become a road because I make a circular driveway.
yep.
All right. I know I was never gonna go for it, but otherwise, go with, having plants on top of the roof. That addresses stormwater more. What's the next one?
I put Mulchmart Express on there. I had some notes on that. They were in front of planning. Planning had a couple of points in there that, I thought we would look at. I did happen to, talk to the applicant the other day on something else, and I asked how things were going. I think he's just about done, but I do believe he has to go back to planning. I did write down some notes, and this was from our last meeting. Do you have any down there? Was that, no, take a look at that. And I thought we would send those notes forward to,
So apparently, if you remember that at that point in time, we had,
I got one.
you got me?
somebody from the planning board was, planning board was, somebody from the planning building department was here saying they were gonna bring the notes to the planning board. Apparently, the notes didn't make it there. So, we're proposing to send that as our notes.
All right, I need a quick break. I'm not gonna make it to the end.
We have to.
For what it's worth, I was trying to get through this quickly.
I thought you said 10 minutes.
I tried.
10 minutes got the intro.
So what is he, what do we wanna do here now? He wants to merge these?
He's gonna, he's using the two lots, he has two lots, he's using two lots.
Yeah.
He really, what he needs to do is merge the two lots, otherwise he has 2 yard setbacks in the middle.
Yeah,
So if it's 20 feet, he's got 40 feet in the middle he's not allowed to use.
yeah,
So he wants to merge those 2 lots,
okay.
and just use the way he's using it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't match up, his use right now doesn't match up with what was done a long time ago. And doesn't, he was approved at one point and never came in to get it signed because he was disputing some of our bills.
Oh,
So we never got it signed, so they're saying it's like kind of like a new,
oh, damn.
new application. But that's what really happened. He disputed because he kept, look, show me how you spent the thing, don't tell me, you know, I owe you $3,000, give me the hours, when did you work on it, or whatever.
Yeah,
And so he claims he never got that,
no,
and
understandable.
so that's where he's at with that. There's some question as to the sidewalk, and I think the last time we talked about whether it needs a sidewalk, that whole front, which is kind of,
Ridiculous, because you got at the state highway there, we wanted to even have them put trees initially.
Right, yes, and then
And then he said,
and the DOT said, no, they don't want the trees on the end of the property.
yeah,
Right, because actually, he technically, legally owns the center of the road,
really?
which means his setback starts from the center of the road. So his setback has to be, I think the front yard setback there is 20 feet, maybe it's 30 feet, it was 30 feet from the center of the road. So his setback's probably 10 feet from the edge of the road.
Oh, God.
So that's technically where he's allowed to use to.
Do you- In reading that, do you guys remember, this is what we talked about, it was actually March 13th, I think was the meeting that we had, May 13th rather. Was there anything we wanted to add to these notes, or there wasn't? Okay. John, did you,
It looked like what we had
that's
discussed
what we had
before.
discussed, right?
Does anybody have a problem with us sending that on to them? Okay.
Okay, so, special meeting of the town board, I found out some information.
Go ahead.
So on May 20th, the town board had a special meeting. The special meeting was concerning the wastewater treatment facility plant from the New York State Department of Mental Health. We call it the Psych Center. The idea is that the town of Goshen would be procuring via gift or purchase from the state of New York the existing wastewater treatment facility and use this as part of the proposed Route 17M Commercial Water District. Now, this meeting was, the only thing this was about, as what I was told, is that in New York State, there's something called the municipal home rule, and this means that the town has the right to make its own laws concerning what, properties in its own town. The state of New York required an acknowledgement from the town to say that home rule does not apply in this instance because the property in question is owned by New York State. The meaning of these minutes are on the town website, a little difficult to get there, but you can find them. Mr. Brady, the town attorney, was present. He made it clear that this did not mean that the town was taking the property, that the town has the right to do its due diligence, that this is simply a formality, the town saying we understand that home rule does not apply. That is what the meeting was about. There was no discussion, there has been no public discussion as to how the town is gonna get this property, which by the way is, I've been told, about 40 acres in our industrial zone. How we're gonna get the property, if anything's gonna be paid for it. I do know that it's been said that this wastewater treatment facility is approximately 60 years old and has never had a major upgrade. No discussion as to if it needs a major upgrade or how much it's gonna cost or who's going to pay for it. So lots and lots and lots of questions. This is, if there's 100 steps, this was step 1. This meeting was really, from what I understand, just a formality, once again, to acknowledge that home rule does not apply in this instance. We put it on the agenda to talk about it tonight just because there was some questions on it. Do you have a question, John?
Is this gonna have to go to a vote of the board, or?
It would go to the vote of the town board. I think the town board can vote to acquire property without any town resident approval. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I think that is accurate. I think that there is no reason, the town can decide they wanna buy a piece of land or get a piece of land or whatever for recreation purpose or anything. They can do that without having us vote on it. And if they, even if they want to bond it, they don't have to. The one part of a conversation that was made at one point in time was that this property could possibly be acquired without any upfront money. Now, why would that happen? Because part of that agreement would be that we would then provide, that sewer treatment plant would then provide sewer treatment to the psych center for X number of years or whatever. Yeah. It's kind of interesting because I thought there was one point in time when they were talking, they wouldn't need this kind of a thing because they were going to acquire Amy's Kitchen's sewer and water lines for the town, in which case, why wouldn't you send it to there?
Yeah.
Rather than run your own sewer plant. That certainly is but there's a lot of, it's in the clouds still, whatever, I guess.
There are a lot more questions than answers.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, the ERB definitely keeping an eye on this as this does affect our natural environment.
There was also, at one point in time, there was discussion about Hughes Energy needing such a thing like as this, because then they could take the leachate and just go right to there. That system was never set up for anything like that, remotely even. There's different kinds of sewer treatment plants, and I know Altori and the county have to take their leachate from theirs all the way to Beacon, I believe it is. Okay, so obviously there's some beneficial aspects to it from the point of view of Altori or the county. They can just drive it across the street or end up installing lines, I guess. And if Hughes or something like that, somebody like that, and then they could also, but that would be a big change in the sewer, that sewer treatment plant. That's a entirely different thing.
Just question now, if this goes forward and the board decides to acquire this property, the whole town will be responsible for the cost of this, and would there be
That still has not been
It
determined
would
at all.
allocate to the people getting that service
They-
along 17?
Huge question.
I can tell you the way it reads. Literally, the law would read that if we spend money up front for a water district or sewer district before it's formed, when it is formed, that money is supposed to be recouped from the people in, or businesses within that sewer and water district.
Good.
However, we started spending that money 2 or 3 years ago.
It's been a while.
Okay, we've started spending money in conversations with consultants and everything else 2 or 3 years ago about acquiring a well out there, or whatever, or wells out there. And there was also some conversation about sewer, whatever. So yes, it is supposed to be recovered, but as of right now, there is no sewer water district. There's been no actions to make a sewer water district. I think that I think that prior to acquiring this, I think the town board would have to go and do seeker. And as part of seeker would not be just the purchase of this, because right now the only user on that septic or wastewater treatment plant is the psych center.
Yeah.
So why would the town take over a sewer treatment plant that the psych center is trying to get rid of and get out of? They were gonna hook all the way up to, they were gonna run a sewer line down 17M into Middletown, was their original plan. They were gonna abandon this and go to there. Why we would take it over, because we think we can run it that much better than the state and make money on it, right? And if we have to buy it from the state, then why is the state gonna pay us? And there's a bunch of questions about that. So I think that ultimately it really is, as Chris said, it's gonna be used for some expanded use, in which case you can't segment the review of that.
Who's
You
running
can't-
it now?
The state. So you
Well,
can't, right.
So we would have to buy it, because technically, wouldn't we be helping the state by just taking it off of their docket?
yes, and so we all buy things in different ways. Some of us buy things and put the money down one way and just pay cash or whatever, or buy it outright. We also, most of us, buy it on time or put it on a credit card.
Mhm.
I think that the intent here may be, and it has been discussed anyhow, that we would get it for virtually nothing.
Good.
And
That
then,
was my point.
say it costs 50,000, and I'm making a number up, do not hold me to this, people. Say it costs $50,000 a month to run it. It may be that if the agreement with the state is that we'll get it for free, but then we'll let them they'll be our first user, our only user, then we have to pay that 50,000 a month then. I'm sure 50,000 is too much, okay? Let's call it 10,000, whatever the number is. And we may have to pay that while they're the only user, maybe. I don't know how that works. But certainly before we do it, you can't say, look, the only thing we're gonna look at right now is them being the only user. If you have the
It's like
intention, if it's called segmentation. If you know you're gonna do this, something else, then you have to plan that, and you have to look at those impacts. So if we're gonna take that over, then I would think we have to do a whole secret for everything that we think that's gonna be used for, everything we plan on using it for, which is this entire sewer water district out there that doesn't exist yet. That goes up as far at least as to Hills or something like that up there.
And New York State's gonna own the psych center?
Yeah.
Is that them?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah,
So why would we even want it?
that's a question.
That's a great question.
Let them run it for themselves.
Just a little bit more background, that the town had originally planned to establish a traditional water district, and that means that the water district must be paid for by the parcels within the water district. As Neil said, it can be paid,
Amy's, yeah.
right, we could be paid
supposed to.
upfront and then repaid back to the town. However, that, for whatever the reason, the town has now shifted to this new plan, which is the Amy's Kitchen Transportation Water District. Amy's Kitchen paid for the lines to come down from Middletown. That transportation district is a privately owned water source, right? It includes Amy's Kitchen property, Signs of the Souls, and one of the Verhaeghe properties, that's it. So, that exists, it already exists. The town would procure that transportation water district, which I believe at that point becomes a municipal water district, right? And the town is saying that the new plan would be to take on outside users, of which what Neil was saying, the Department of Mental Health would be the first outside user.
Right. And that was definitely part of their plan of acquiring that, was to take that in right away.
Right.
Right, that about it.
So they become the first user. There was talk of other users. Neil had mentioned the Healy dealership. The idea was Healy would bury lines from their dealership down the Heritage Trail to the Amy's Kitchen site and hook into the water site. And they would do so at their expense. The number was, I believe, $2 million was about what it would cost. But that's Healy would pay for that $2 million line, right? Now.
And then Millmar would do that.
And then Millmar.
Then the jail may do that.
So
everybody's gonna have their own water lines running to somewhere.
Oh, but we're not exactly sure, right? This was kind of a
It's
fragmented idea. And Neil made the point, you have to size these lines correctly. You can't let stagnant water in the lines. There's so many questions. But this is, again, is step 1 of 100. This is day 1, hour 1. Just wanted to, update that's what this meeting was about. There was a bit of concern that this meeting was, it was scheduled as
A special meeting.
a special meeting because there was an urgency. The urgency being they were trying to get this in before the state senate broke for the summer recess. My understanding is it didn't get done in time for one reason or another.
I think that the Senate did pass it, but the Assembly did not.
Okay,
I think it's that what I heard.
so this will, then in the fall, they can take it up?
Right.
Which, there's nobody, Senator Skoufis put out he sponsored the bill. The numbers thrown around was that the state was gonna spend $8 million on running lines up to Middletown, but now they'll do this instead. So the state saves millions of dollars. So yeah, of course, they're gonna, that's a great deal for them. The question is, who's going to pay for this upgrade to the water system, to the wastewater treatment facility, et cetera? So many questions,
and
no
the
answers.
answer normally would be the district users.
Right.
Question, you got a lot of, in the pipeline, a lot of warehouses going in. They have a lot of square footage and not an awful lot of employees there. Why would they want to join in this kind of thing anyway?
Well, supposedly, a number of them, some number between 10 and 20, have sent letters into the supervisor saying that they want to join this sewer water district.
Really?
Expressed an interest, has been stated.
And a warehouse is a warehouse only if it's just storing nuts and bolts, doesn't need any water. But if you're gonna take that facility and now turn it into some sort of
Manufacturing or something.
Chicken factory.
manufacturing,
So
whatever it
they're-
is, now you need
Yes.
copious amounts of water, so.
So there may not even be warehouses there.
Well, right now, everything's warehouses, nothing
We don't-
else has been proposed.
The
Well,
super-
yeah, because nobody knows what's going in them yet.
Right. That's the update on that meeting. So that's what it was.
Hmm.
The ERB is keeping an eye on this particular subject matter as it does pertain to the environment that we live in and the groundwater and
I think at some point in time, if it does go forward, I think we could really help the town. I'm just kind of surprised that the town board is not proceeding with seeker already. If I was gonna try, if I really wanted to get this moving along, I
Yeah,
would certainly consider spending some money to do seeker, kind of at the same time this is going on over here. Because seeker's gonna take a year or more probably. By the time you look at all the impacts of opening up a sewer water district and of making that, upgrading that plant, I mean, you got to look at the financials on it, you're gonna have to look at all kinds of stuff. Financials of running sewer water line, or sewer lines, and all the connections and how many, and there's a whole bunch to be studied. Nothing's being studied yet, and as I said, to just take it over and just have it, and the only use is gonna be the psych center, serves nobody's purpose except the state's.
The big red flag to me is the one customer that's using it would spend $8 million to get rid of it.
Right. Yeah,
That's,
yeah,
that,
absolutely.
that gives me a huge question mark as to why that's.
And I can tell you that at the time when it was being discussed by the town's consultant, there was some question as to why doesn't the county take it over? So they could just run their effluent over to there from there. And they said that the county looked at it and said, no, we don't want it either.
right.
Oh,
That's
So,
according to the
what-
town's consultant.
So that was that. I had just a few other things that I added on after we did the agenda. I just wanted to update the board. The Science of the Souls parking lot, we had talked about this. We had talked about them raising the ground because we know where this is on Hartley Road. Okay, there's a new plan. I just found it the other day. I would have to walk you through it, how to find it. It is buried on the town website, and I will speak to buildings tomorrow to see if I can get that for the proper place.
It's in the wrong location.
It is.
Yeah, it's on somebody else's.
Yeah, well, first
Yeah.
of all, yeah, it's a mess, but the gist of it is that the new plan is not to raise the ground. They will not be bringing in truckloads and truckloads. We said up to 3,000 truckloads of fill.
oh.
Instead, they will just be using geo block, keeping it as a field. They agree that it will only be used for their jamboree once a year. No permanent lighting. It's essentially everything that we suggested. Not that we had anything to do with it, it just happened to be good ideas. The one thing that I did want to mention is they had planned 2 entrances in. Instead, they have built 3. I have been told they were granted permission by the highway superintendent, and that if you go by Hartley Road, you're gonna see that there are 3 entrances, but that the middle entrance is going to be for emergency service only. It looks just like the other 2 entrances, but it will be for emergency services only. That is, I'm sorry, I think I had,
Now, one of the things that they already need to take into consideration, the amount of fill that's already been brought into them.
yes. So this is the printout of, it's just the one printout, Hartley, so there's an entrance, that's the fee. Entrance, and that's the parking lot. Overall, it is, I think it's a good plan, it's exactly what we talked about, and they're just not bringing in all that traffic with the truck and the fill and everything else. So, that was the update to Science of the Souls. Did you see that new plan yet?
Yeah.
It's,
Yes, it's under somebody else's on the agenda.
actually, it's, CDX Extreme.
Yeah, right.
But that plan, that's not it. There's a new
Okay, no, I
plan,
didn't
that's
see
not
it.
for something else, and I'll
It's on
send you the
the
link.
CDX thing.
Okay. 126 Axworthy Lane is a property, we all know what Axworthy Lane is. The request is for them to put in a tall fence in front of their house. They want to fence the entire house in to keep deer out.
Really?
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Problem.
So, they are asking for a variance to have this super tall fence going all the way around. If you were to go and take a look at the property at 126 Axworthy, you will see there are these huge forsythia bushes in the front. I'm sure you would even know it if you saw it.
Is it before Silent Farm? or-
It is, if you're coming from Goshen, it's way past Silent Farm, it's when you, just before you get to Smith Road, it's on the right-hand side.
Oh,
These are some of the pictures, and this is the plan for, I don't know, these are just pictures of their property, and there was a narrative, and that's the plan.
Yeah, I remember seeing.
So
You
what
did
kind,
see
what kind
something?
of fencing are they proposing?
It's a 8-foot chain link, black plastic, fence, so it's that chain link, but it's not bare metal, it's the plastic,
Yeah.
fence. It's all black,
8 foot.
so this is just their narrative that they, you know, we've enjoyed our 40th year enjoying the home. They've established a forsythia hedge, it's 8 feet high, it's along the front of the property. This fence would go behind that forsythia hedge line. But that they want to do this, in the front of the house. Nobody's got a problem with them doing it on the side or the back. And zoning has asked for a letter of approval from their neighbor, because they would be directly affected. Does, also, this is a, wildlife friendly fence in that it'll be a foot off the ground so that smaller animals can still traverse underneath, just keeps the deer out.
Do they have that much damage from the deer, or do what?
Yeah, so their property is, there's some pictures in there, they have beautiful, they've made walking paths through and stuff like that.
You know, this guy is the one who used to be with, maybe still is, with the battery place.
Oh, okay.
He was in front of this planning board twice. Descharnay, I think, or something like that is the name.
Yes,
That's
it
the
is.
name. And he was there twice because he needed to put a garage up, and I think the garage was in front, and beautiful, it's an old, log cabin. It's a beautiful place, beautiful property. You know, we did one like this on, Conklin Town Road, I think.
Okay.
Beautiful, it came out a beautiful job. I think they put the fence closer and they put the gate there,
Uh-huh,
back further,
uh-huh,
so you can pull in off the road and still wait for the gate to open.
okay.
But look, if you can get out there,
I know the property, I know what you're talking about.
okay, yeah, they did a really nice job with that one you hardly notice it.
So the fact that, just that this would require a variance, and, does anyone have concerns or anything for a variance on an 8-foot fence in the front of the house? That would be behind this forsythia hedge. I will say that in zoning, I made the point that, that although these people do own this house now, and they're going to for the foreseeable future, eventually somebody else is going to own that house, because that's how nature works. And if the next homeowner comes in and decides, I don't like forsythia, and they take a chainsaw and take the forsythia out, now I'm looking at an 8-foot high fence. And so I said that any variance would have to be tied to the building inspector's ability to, at any time, say, you no longer have this coverage in front of this fence, and now you're out of code. So, that was my thought on it.
The only thing that I would say is that their location is in a really, not very well-traveled
Rural,
road.
very, very rural.
Yeah, and that road in particular, going to Hill, like, very few people go on that.
Agreed?
It's not, you'd even,
I agree with you completely. One of my things on zoning.
I know, you're setting precedents.
I'm stuck on the code. The code doesn't say it's okay in that area because nobody goes on that road. It doesn't say that. And by the way, nobody goes on it now, but 100 years from now, who knows what it is? And the decisions we make today are for the future generations. I take that very seriously. That said, this property is kind of unique in that it does have a fully established hedge line there. If nobody's having a visceral reaction to this, right? There's nothing terrible about this?
I think certainly the visual impact is what's there, and the fencing that's being used is critical, and I think even, I don't know where they plan on having the gate, but the gate has to be far enough off the road that even a UPS truck can pull off the road and not have the SN sticking out while he's going through.
That was discussed, that there would be a gate on the driveway, but that gate would be out of the, what do we call that, the setback? There's no variance required for that gate, so it would be far enough back for just that. You can
Yeah, I
have
think it
kids
is.
pull it.
So the other one we had, but there's another one that we gave out, off of, Old Menacing Trail. Now, out there, that intersection, 2 and Mike, what's next name?
This one I don't know.
Yeah, it's out this way towards Phillipsburg Road.
Old Menacing
Old Menacing
Is
goes up
from-
from the,
goes to.
Goes across.
Go near Axworthy, or, wait a minute.
anyhow, I
goes
can get
somewhere.
you the information on that one. They also did it there, they had a tall one, for the same reason, the deer, and yes, deer do make a bunch of difference. I
They
have
just,
fought deer for a while, my other property, fortunately, the one I have now, they had deer. Speak this and non-conforming.
but
Question, now the fencing that they're putting up is all the way around their property?
all the way.
The forsythia goes all the way, fence it all around it?
No,
Just
they,
in the front, right?
just in the front, left and right are wooded areas,
Yeah,
and the back is wooded also.
And-
where's the neighbor?
And the fences there are gonna be in compliance because they're in the side yard.
Yes,
I think on the
so
right
you
side,
only need that for the front
because
yard.
it's on the corner.
Oh,
And I can tell you, I had a fight on that in Hamiltonian Park one time. Depending on how they construct that fence, you gotta make sure the entire thing stays under the amount. Otherwise, it used to be, it was made
So
in the
that's the
papers
property.
as the monkey fence.
So, and this is the forsythia hedge, woods here, woods all the way around the back, woods to this side. And, this is the properties back. Interestingly, this is, on the edge of, town of Walk Hill,
So
but that's the property if you wanna send that.
Yep.
the hedge around the front,
They
the
actually did two.
deer, is that, that doesn't stave off the deer?
No, I asked it, the idea was that,
Because I mean, fence around the sides, nobody's got a problem.
right, but if you don't fence the entire property, the deer will find a way in.
Okay,
They're
I
just-
didn't know if that hedge was enough to.
I asked, it doesn't seem to be enough.
That's
Yeah,
it.
not Cynthia, if you got some other stuff, you can get it.
Now I have another question, a question with that. The Cynthia is not perennial, I mean, not evergreen.
No, it's not evergreen.
So
You're
in the
right.
winter time, you'd see a bunch of sticks.
Yes, but it's very dense. This hedge line is nearly 10 feet high, and it is probably 8 feet deep. I agree with you, but it is also black fence, and with the sticks, it would blend. Until the forsythia is not there, right? Then I have a problem, because now I've got an 8-foot fence in front of the house, which our code is not allowed.
I would let them I would break that variance up so that they could change the species of bush apple. I wouldn't make it must be permanently forsythia. I would make it permanently something, and I would make it, if they wanted to take that down, install an 8-foot one, something 8 foot high as a replacement immediately.
Something, so,
I mean, forsythia's okay, but I
Let's
said it's
say
not
they
ever-
die and they decide to put something else in.
Sure.
It's gonna take time to grow.
Sure, so that's what I'm saying, no, buy an 8-foot one. I am, I mean.
so we're saying that
Okay.
it must remain covered as per the building inspector. We have to give the building inspector the ability to say, that's gonna work or
No,
that's.
it has to be covered as per what you write.
Right,
And the building inspector, do not, let's say the building inspector said, well, yes, you can put that one in and let it grow. Whatever you wanna say, I would say, but if it's 8-foot high fence, give me an 8-foot high bush in front of it. You can buy them.
right.
I mean, Legoland put up a 40-foot high tree on the property and it survived. So you can get it and you can do it. And these people are, these people are. I think, I've got that in my mind.
Yep.
Devil's
Once again,
advocate here. 10, 15 years from now,
Yeah.
who's gonna remember this?
That's why it's all
It's
written
gotta be,
down.
it's gotta be in the variance.
Yeah, but
It's
I
gotta
mean,
be variance.
who's gonna have that in their memory bank or?
No, they're not. It's gotta be that somebody can go to the file and read it. That's why I'm saying, don't, they're not, and look, Frank may be perfectly good at picking the bushes.
Right,
But the next building inspector or the one after that may not know a bush from a
okay.
bramble.
Must be covered,
Sure, tall enough and height and width,
okay.
so that you don't see the fence.
My
It's
name
the
was-
same degree it is now, or, no, don't say the same degree it is now, but you can't see it.
The last thing was, does anybody else have any other concerns environmentally in Goshen?
All right, I will really fast, and I don't want to cover it tonight, but I did send out just before the meeting, I sent everybody an email on sidewalks.
Mhm.
Okay, please, if you can get to look at it, we talked about it last time. I covered a lot of material in there as to what's good about sidewalks, what's bad about sidewalks. and what are our concerns about sidewalks, you know, whose liability, who's gonna maintain, who's gonna whatever. If you look at it and suggest any changes, I would like to get that out and get that going so the town board, when they start looking at their new laws, can start to look at that too, maybe.
So we've also changed on how we're doing our minutes. Neil approves the minutes and we get, Mary's been posting them for us. If you would take a look at our last meeting, I have some minutes, we posted some minutes, take a look at those. Also, so what's happened is I took some notes and the chairman has to approve them. Should anybody else look at these before they're?
Does anybody want to look at it before we send it on to the planning board?
No.
I mean, that would be a lot of emails between us outside of this meeting, which, you know, I don't.
That's also not technically how you approve minutes, but we're okay with it.
Okay.
I mean, but if
Yeah,
we're
if you
okay
wanna
with it,
send
then
it,
we'll go forward.
I'd review it, but you know.
Sure, we'll send it to everybody, we can send it to everybody, and then you say, oh, hell no, then let's get back to this, okay?
I used to take all the minutes for the Rotary for Park Ridge, I was part of that for a long time, down in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And the minutes of the meeting, no one ever approved it, they were like, oh, did we say that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, Mary Rizzo was fantastic with us. She has helped with some using ChatGPT. I took some of that, I put some of that stuff in my own words. We may go to an all AI. You know, tonight's a big meeting. Tonight I got a lot, so it's gonna take me a week to put this together. So AI is, it's gonna destroy us, I have no doubt. Terminator is now a how-to video. It's not, you know, that said.
However, though, you do have the YouTube to go back on.
Well, that's the thing, is you just put the AI through the YouTube and it spits out very accurate.
Right.
They're very accurate, but they're very cold.
It's
And-
kind of verbatim.
Yeah.
And I'm open to all new ideas too, if you guys wanna do something different, and, maybe we do need to talk about having somebody from the town take notes, because it is a lot, but, the point being is that I think we have been doing some fantastic work for the last 2 years. We have some great ideas, but those ideas don't mean anything if they don't get pushed out to the planning, zoning, and town boards. So, by posting
Yes.
them, my idea is that they're
Well,
posted.
that's the whole point.
Yeah, it was,
is,
and we realized we thought we were getting that, and we didn't, and so that's why we're going with the plan B.
But the idea is that now, as a plan, is something coming up for planning, we can notify planning, hey, ERB has the notes and they're here, please have your members take a look at it, take from it what you will. As I said, I think we're doing great work, but the message has to get out, so we're trying to change that up a little bit, and new ideas are welcome if anybody has any. Okay? Mr. Chairman?
I think, anybody else? Good.
We're good.
Right, we're done, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.